Hey everyone, and welcome to the VGA podcast. This is episode 32. It's Caleb and Alex back with you again. Welcome, Alex. How you doing?
Good. It's been a minute.
Yep, it has been. I'm in my new house. We had to take a few weeks off as I moved, but we're all settled in.
Everything all settled?
Yeah, mostly. I still have some stuff we need to move out of the garage and unpack, but that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. You're in and settled for the most part, so the rest is kind of slow.
Yep, exactly.
At least that's how it was for me.
Yeah. But we have a lot to talk about this week. So, since we've been off for a few weeks, so we have watched the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie, and we're going to be talking about that, reviewing it, discussing our thoughts. We also have Shogun episode 10, the finale, to talk about, as well as the last 4 episodes of Fallout. So we'll be giving our thoughts on all those. And then I've also watched 4 episodes of X-Men 97. I think you've watched more than that. But we can talk about
the 9
that.
that are out. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can just give our initial thoughts and then do the full thing next week when it's all out and I've seen it all. But we can talk about our initial impressions.
I also want to talk about Dark Souls too after all that.
Yes, I would love to talk about Dark Souls.
I know you would.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I'm thinking Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes first.
Okay, yeah, it works.
Let's talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So we watched the movie, and we're going to be giving a score and then talking about our thoughts and going into spoilers, but we'll give a spoiler warning before we go into any of those. But Alex, I'll go ahead and let you start and give your score on what your overall thought of the movie is.
Yeah. Okay. So I had rewatched the 3 movies before this one that's connected to it: the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So because I wanted to have like those movies fresh in my mind. And right off the bat, I will say this is not as good as those ones. That being said, I still thought it was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked amazing. The characters were interesting. Of course, that's another thing. Is Noah, I think is his name, right? The main ape.
Yep.
And while he's cool, he's not Caesar, and I know it took Caesar a while to get to that epic status, but with Caesar, we kind of saw him grow, like from literally like a little chimp.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Noah, he's kind of already established. I know his ideals and his character motivations will probably change throughout the series, but he's still relatively established.
Yeah.
I still liked him. Like I still thought he was a great main character to follow. And then also there's one other the orangutan. I don't remember his name.
It's like Raka or Rafa or something. Yeah.
Raka, I think. Yeah, I thought he was great. His 2 little buddies were okay. We didn't see them for like half the movie. But yeah, characters were pretty solid. I thought it looked amazing. I would say it's. I guess I don't know. I would still give it an 8 out of 10 because I loved it. Like I really did love it. It's just when I'm comparing it to the older trilogy, it just doesn't seem to that level. Maybe it's because there's no. Except for the end. I don't know. We'll have to discuss it when we're talking about spoilers. But yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I have pretty similar thoughts on this. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. I thought it did a really good job setting up. I believe this is going to be a new trilogy. I think there's going to be a new trilogy in this time.
I read that too.
Time period. So I thought it did a really good job setting up this trilogy and setting up some really interesting things that could happen after this. Obviously, like you said, this one doesn't have Caesar, and that had me going into it being like, I probably won't like this as much because Caesar's awesome, and how do you replace him? But I think they did a decent job with Noah and with some of the positions it puts Noah in and like figuring out what he believes. I thought it was really compelling. And I also feel like this wasn't as action heavy as some of the other ones, but that might also be because it's the first one in a new trilogy. So like the first one in the other trilogy kind of was a little slower and less actiony too. So that kind of is where my head's at with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, despite...
I guess the difference though is...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess for me, the difference between Rise and this is because they are similar movies in the sense of like it's more kind of drama in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rise was set with like you knew that the doom of humanity was coming, so like you had that looming in the background.
True.
And like with this one, I mean, apes are already in control. So but yeah, that's just thoughts I had too, because I compared it to Rise quite a bit too when I was thinking about it.
Yeah. But I feel like this one came in with the challenge of having to figure out how to replace Caesar, and I think it did a good enough job to keep me interested in the trilogy. And overall, I thought the movie had really interesting themes. I love pretty much all these movies give you a good reason for like both sides, because it could be easy to pick one side, like, oh, I want the humans, oh, I want the apes. But it does a good job of showing both sides, and I felt like this one kept up with that kind of theme. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10 as well, because I thought it was a very good movie.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, there's some stuff. Yeah, we'll have to get to spoilers because it overall, I mean, it was a great movie. Like even though it was slower and less action heavy, if you're into, like you said, the themes, and if you could kind of get into the mindset of mainly watching, CGI apes, like it's great. I mean, and it looks good too. Like, it does. It's insane how good it looks.
Yep.
Like they look real. Like, geez, I was scared they actually took over the planet.
But with that being said, let's get into spoilers. So, spoiler alert for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We recommend you see it if you haven't.
Yes, for sure. Well, first thing, it was kind of cool watching this. This isn't a spoiler, but because the director Wes Ball is the one directing Zelda, the new Zelda movie. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. Like, I almost felt like this was his audition for me. Like, oh, can he handle a Zelda movie? But when you think about it, I mean, the girl, May, she hardly talked, and, like, she could convey emotions. Like, I wonder if he would do that with Link.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but that could be, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that was just, I don't know, I thought that was... I don't want to watch this movie. I was getting excited, like, oh, okay, maybe you could handle a Zelda movie.
True.
But so the first thing I wanted to say was, I thought the voice acting was really good. Rocca, for example, I loved him. Like, and I still think he's alive.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rocca's alive, and he was my favorite character. For sure.
Yeah, he was great. And I hope he's alive, because it could be such an interesting dynamic with Noah. Because Noah, as you can see throughout the movie, which we'll get to it, he goes from not liking the humans to caring about her to, going to that big human bunker and seeing, books of apes and stuff in cages. So he went from like not really knowing or understanding humans to kind of liking her, and then like kind of like, maybe I shouldn't trust them.
Yep.
And I think that would be interesting with Rocca around to see, like, I don't know, like just an interesting dynamic. So I hope he's alive.
Yeah, I do too. And I thought Noah's journey in this was good. It started off kind of slow with just him at his like camp or his village or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I felt it really picked up after like the village got taken and he met Rocca. Like Rocca is where it really started to feel like he was getting some interesting like moral quandaries thrown at him, like humans aren't exactly what he thought, and Caesar's teachings, kind of setting that groundwork for being a better ape.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, it's a lot of parallels to, like, real life.
Yeah.
But I loved how that's the one thing I did love. Even though Caesar isn't in this movie, well, technically he's in it for like 2 seconds at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I love how like he is his legacy. He's almost like a religion. Like
Yeah. He's almost like
and I
two
love
religions. Because like
yeah.
like Proximus and his group kind of follow this distorted version of Caesar, and then you have Raka promoting, in my opinion, what's more of like his Caesar's actual thoughts on things.
Oh, for sure. Caesar didn't want a war to kill humans. He just did it to protect his apes, to his people. That's the only reason. If humans weren't attacking the apes, Caesar wouldn't be attacking them.
Yep.
Also, Proximus. Proximus, I loved him too. He kind of, I don't know, the way he talked and stuff, he thought he was all cool and funny. And
yeah, I feel like he was pretty charismatic, and it makes sense why he would become the leader. But his character reminded me of Fallout New Vegas. Maybe it's just because I'm in a Fallout mood after finishing the show. But like in New Vegas, there's Caesar's Legion, and it's a guy named Caesar who is just like a Roman LARPer. He's pretending to like rebuild the Roman society. And Proximus kind of felt like that too, where he's having Roman things read to him. He's in the red outfit, kind of like Rome, and is like taking Caesar's teachings and twisting them to his purpose. But it just reminded me of Fallout New Vegas.
I will say, I almost wish he survived, because I don't know. I was reading some stuff like people wish he survived, and it kind of would be cool. Like some people are saying it would have been cool if he survived, and like it would be Noah and his people, and then him and his people. He'd be like the overarching villain. But then I don't know, maybe they have to fight the humans, and they actually have to team up eventually. I don't know. It would have been cool if he kind of stayed alive through the few movies.
That's true. I will say his death was really cool. I really liked that scene with
I liked it. I did.
The eagles coming in and stuff. That was really cool. But that would have been interesting. Although I think they might be doing something even more interesting with kind of pitting Caesar and May against each other in the end. It kind of seems like it might go that way because even at the end when May's like saying goodbye, she has a pistol behind her back, which was a pretty cool reveal of how she still doesn't trust him, and Noah still doesn't know exactly how to feel about humans imprisoning them. I kind of feel like those two might end up being
I agree,
at odds.
Still kind of like the at odds. I guess for me it just would have been cool to see a different, like seeing it almost be like Rick and Shane, right? It's almost like Noah kind of slowly become kind of like Rick kind of slowly became Shane. But I agree with you. And even when he had that, I thought that scene was good because Noah asked May, like, can we live together in peace? And then it like shows the gun behind, like, he's like, I don't know, like it was really good. Like Noah's like right, kind of in a sense. But then she's, I don't know. You're right. This is the best. This is what makes Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes is the ideals and the politicalness and
the gray areas.
Yeah, because like, do you root for the humans? Like, we should be, right? Like, we're human,
right? But like, you follow the apes so much, and you're like sympathetic to their cause, and it's like, well, who is right? Like,
but then like May is right. Like, this is our planet.
Yeah,
but we also like we're stupid enough to create a virus to destroy it. And it's so funny too, because like I said, I rewatched the old movies, and I know this is off topic, but like the funny thing is the James Franco in that movie, who was helping with that virus. I don't know if you remember, it was to help
Alzheimer's
stop
virus.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
and he's like, we gotta stop. It was just corporate greed, dude, and that's so realistic though.
Yep.
Like,
that's true.
They're like, no, this is gonna make us freaking money. We're going on with it. He's like, no, there's side effects. I'm telling you. Nope. I'm like, oh. So, anyways, it's just so like I guess what I'm trying to say is I know May said that like it was our planet first. So I'm like, well, we were kind of idiots. So
yeah, exactly.
Do we deserve it back?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is the question. I feel like.
and in the ending, I guess we're gonna hurt ourselves. So the beginning, it showed Caesar and all the apes from the first movie,
And
just for like
Maurice.
the split. Yeah,
I love.
Maurice. Yes,
Why are the
Maurice.
orangutans? The orangutans are always my favorite.
I know Maurice is my favorite too.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, Maurice was great. Yeah, they showed them for like I mean, it was like a minute or two, kind of just
Yeah.
showing Caesar as he passed. Like, and I don't, you finished all three of the other movies, right?
I did. It's been a while. I didn't get to rewatch
Okay,
them, but I did watch
yeah,
a
but you've
recap.
seen
So
them all.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people hate on War of the Planet of the Apes or For the Planet of the Apes. Uh, but it was good. That was the one. I don't know if you remember. Or you saw the recap where they followed mostly the apes,
Yeah.
and it was good. I think the problem is these movies titles are like backwards. I
I
saw a
know.
thing on Reddit on it, and I totally agree with it. Where like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes should have been the first one,
Yep.
War for the Planet of the Apes should have been the second one, and then
And then
Rise of the Planet of
Rise.
the Apes should have been the third one.
Yeah, I feel like
Like
there's also an argument just to swatch just to switch the first two, like Dawn
Swatch.
and you have to swatch them. Like Dawn and Rise could have been switched. Like it
Oh
just like all is the naming convention is not my favorite. That's for sure.
no, no. I think that makes kind of sense.
Yeah.
Um, so like these three. So okay, they're planning on another trilogy, right?
Yep.
This trilogy, and I was reading the writers of the original, and I think some of them are back for this one. Said they originally planned for 9 movies,
Oh
so like
dang.
kind of like Skywalker saga, so like 3 trilogies.
Yeah.
So what I wonder is if this is so right now I was reading they're calling this ape era like the Bronze era, like the humans are mostly wiped out, but it's not like the original movie where they're like it's their world.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this will kind of lead into like the original trilogy.
Yeah, I was wondering when they're going to do that because I definitely feel like they're setting some things up to lead into the original, or like a remake of the original, kind of. So I was wondering if they're going to do that in this trilogy or do that after. I don't know which one I would like. Probably after. Let them do their own thing some more. But I feel like they're definitely leaving things in. Like in the first 3, there was talk of like a mission to Mars, and with the people underground in this one, they're definitely setting up for something like that.
Yeah, they're like looking out in space. So
yeah,
I know
honestly,
we're jumping all over the place, but
when they were looking at that telescope, I kind of thought they were going to see him coming back, like from the original or something. But
and then also like at the very end. So yeah, I know we're jumping all over the place, but let's just talk straightforward. Noah and his clan, they basically have to what? Find the evil egg.
Yeah, that's how
what was the purpose of the beginning? So they do the climb.
Yeah, they're like having a ceremony to bond to their eggs and have their own birds. So they climb up to, and I thought it was really cool seeing they're basically climbing up buildings that have been in decay for 300 years, and the building out of those buildings and making them all overgrown and stuff looked really good. Some of those shots were really cool. And so they get to the top and get their eggs. And then
this whole time, the girl's kind of following him around, right?
Yeah, and she like goes into the village, and Noah finds her kind of, and she runs into him and breaks his egg. And so he feels like he has to go get another one in the middle of the night right before the ceremony. So that's why he like runs off in the middle of the night, but then gets interrupted by some invader apes. And they like I think they just like kill off some scouts or something, but then start heading back to the village. And then I thought that fight scene at the village was pretty good. Like it was less a fight scene and more of just like destruction. They pretty much like destroy their whole village and take them into slavery. But like seeing it all on fire and him climbing up the tower, craziness going on was really good.
Yeah, that fight with the gorilla.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name. He's kind of like the main gorilla. The kind of commander to the king, kind of.
Yeah, I forget his name too.
That fight was good. He
Yeah.
was trying to protect his dad up there. Noah was, and it was pretty brutal. And towards the end, they have like these apes and gorilla have the shockers.
Yep.
They
The
could the
ones
poles that
that Draco used in the first one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And uses that on Noah, and he pretty much falls all the way down.
Yep.
Gets knocked out, wakes up, sees his dad dead, and says he needs to go out and get his people back for his dad. That's pretty much the whole plot.
Yep. And that's like the first third of the movie. And yeah, talking about his friends, like, so his two main friends are Anaya and Suna. I thought they were okay. Like you said, we didn't really see him that much, especially after this. We don't see him for a whole like third of the movie. But like Anaya had some funny lines. Suna was an okay love interest. She'll probably be more important in the next ones if they keep following Noah. But yeah, they were fine.
Well, they were. I mean, compared to, I guess, the Apes, it's only been one movie, but
yeah,
I guess Maurice was more so was obviously like Rocca. So in the sense, Rocca was pretty solid like Maurice. But like in the original trilogy had like what's his name, Rocket, and there was a couple other, I can't remember the name,
the
that
mean
they were
one.
in.
The
mean one. I remember him too. But they were all in the zoo with him. So like I don't know, it felt we just didn't. I guess the biggest thing is I feel like we grew with Caesar and all of his buddies, and these three were like already a system, a friendship.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
that's why. And also, we didn't see them a third of the movie, like you said, or half the movie almost.
Yeah.
But I will say I don't think Proximus was as awesome as Koba. Do you remember Koba from
Koba? That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Koba was really good. Yeah,
he was very good, and they were like him and Caesar were kind of buddies at the beginning, and I don't know, he was such a good villain. He haunted Caesar even into the third movie. Like that was a great villain.
Yeah, I feel like there are different kinds of villains. Like Koba's more of the like immediate warmonger kind of like wipeout. Yeah. But Caesar's more of like the charismatic leader who's almost in the long run more dangerous. But like Koba's definitely more intimidating, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, because Proximus, which I guess we'll get there. So after the village gets attacked and he sets off to find his people, that's where he meets Rocca, right?
Yep.
In between there, and then again, hilarious. He was an awesome. I think you're right. I think he's my favorite too.
Yeah, Rocca's great. So he meets Rocca and learns about. So Rocca's like one of the last people who kind of knows who Caesar actually was and what he stood for, and he has this religion basically of worshiping or like spreading Caesar's teachings. And I thought that was really cool. He has his symbol, which he then gives to Noah eventually. But yeah,
like the window seal. I love how that goes throughout even to now.
Yeah, that's really cool. And one of the funniest lines of the movie, I think, was when they were walking through the airport and us as an audience knows it's an abandoned airport, but Rocca's like, who knows what this area was? Apes could have used this to keep humans and feed them and take care of them. And it's like, oh, there's planes in the background. It's an airport.
It's so funny because the apes are like not at the level of smartness, that humans are, but they're like in between. They're not dumb.
Yeah, I feel like they have the capacity for the intelligence, but it's just like it's like they're starting from scratch. They don't have. We had like however many years to like learn all this stuff. Yeah. They just sprung up as with this intelligence, and now are starting from ground zero. So that makes sense.
Which even Proximus says, like when he's explaining to Noah later on in the movie, like they had, evolution. we had, I think they didn't say bombs, but they had stuff like I don't remember. He said that could destroy everything. They could go in the air. I don't remember who said it.
Yeah, it was Caesar. Or not Caesar, Proximus.
Yeah.
The new Caesar, the wannabe Caesar.
What technically is Proximus Caesar.
Yeah, But yeah, he talked about how they could talk across oceans. They could fly like the eagles. Yeah.
But and then when he meets Raka, they see the human again. Which what does Noah just call a human again? It's
Echo.
Nova, right?
Well, he calls it an echo, and then Raka tells him that it's a human, and then Raka says that Caesar calls them Novas because I think that's the name of the girl in the third one.
Yep,
is Nova.
Yep.
So they name her Nova before they know that she can talk.
That's right. Yeah, and then Raka's like, "All right, I need to." This is Caesar's trying to talk to me. I need to go with you.
Yep.
He's like, you'll slow me down. He's like, no, I got a horse too.
And then when they go, he immediately asks him to slow down. I don't know if you got that, but like right after, he's like, can't we go a little slower? That's funny.
And then eventually they make camp. The humans there, or May's there, Nova, whatever you want to call her. And they kind of talk like humans are dumb, but she's like, Rocker's like, she's smarter than most. And she throws them food, and all this time, Noah's like, it's a human, like, leave him be, like that, doesn't care for them.
Yeah, he just thinks they're stupid.
I just don't think he. Yeah, I don't think he understands. He just thinks they're stupid. I don't even think he hates them. I think he just thinks they're stupid and useless.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But, what happens after that? I don't remember.
So they camp with May, and Caesar gives her the blanket. But then after that, they find the zebras, and then they find the a group of humans, and one thing I noticed was they were
horses
all in
with stripes.
Yeah, horses with stripes. All the humans they found are in like loincloths and really basic looking like caveman clothing, basically. But May was in like normal clothes, like our actual, kind of clothes.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
And at first, I'm like, I wonder if it's just because. At first, obviously it's explained at the end, but at first I thought it was like, okay, she's the main character. She's, they have to. I don't know. I just thought they were going to make her more, I don't know, human-y because she's the main human.
Yeah.
But I did notice that too. I'm like, how does she have like jeans and like a t-shirt and
Yep.
My question to you, because this was never explained. So, I guess before, like you were saying, they found all the humans drinking out of the water.
Yep.
And then that same gorilla that attacked this village arrived and was hunting down all of them.
Yep.
My question, what did they do with the humans? Because they captured them, but you never see any humans besides the one guy.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't really explain that. I know in the original, they like use them kind of as slaves, don't they? So maybe that could be what's going on, but they don't really show that. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, they're like capturing all these humans, or are they just killing? I didn't think they
might be, because I think they're looking just for May, so they might have been just capturing them to check to see if that's who it was,
and then smart or something.
Yeah, and then they either kill them or let them go or whatever.
Okay, because they never explained that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah, and then so May is running away from that gorilla guy, and I think, so she's running away, and then Noah sees her, and this is the moment where Noah realizes that May can talk because she yells out Noah's name to come help her. And I thought that was an interesting, like, kind of callback. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but the first word we hear Caesar say is no, and the first word we hear May say is Noah. So I don't know if they did that kind of to mirror it. But I thought that was it was an impactful moment. I kind of wish they didn't show that moment as much in the trailers, but that's just trailer things that are going to spoil some parts of the movie. So.
Yeah, because they definitely showed that moment in the trailer, or around that moment at least.
Right.
Because I mean, if it was meant to be impactful, it was still nowhere near the level of Caesar saying no. I remember I don't know if I saw it with you or who I saw it with, but like the whole theater's gasped. It was like, oh man.
Yeah,
that was such a cool moment.
that was definitely a way better moment for sure. I still think the scene was good,
Yeah.
but you can't beat Caesar
Yeah, good, yeah.
speaking his first words. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. That was so good. Yeah, it was a good scene though.
Yep.
And of course Noah saves her. They ride off. And uh wait,
And yeah,
when do they get captured?
they go across the bridge next, and that's where they get captured.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And on the bridge, Raka falls off and then is holding onto the thing, and then
allegedly dies.
One of the apes cuts it, and yeah, he quote unquote dies. We don't see him for the rest of the movie, but I'm pretty sure he's still alive. In fact, I read something that at the end you can hear orangutan noises, and it's probably Raka.
I did hear that too. Well, I didn't stay in here that, but I read that afterwards too.
Yep.
And then they get captured. They get taken to the kingdom, quote unquote.
Yep.
And which is pretty much just like a prison surrounding a human bunker that the government sat in after the virus went out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying, the whole point of Maximus enslaving all these apes is to open that door, pretty much, because he believes what's behind that door will help the evolution of apes.
Yep, and it probably would, because we've seen that apes do know how to handle guns when they get them, and there's probably a lot of guns in there. There's like a lot of technology that they could use. Who knows if they'll be able to learn, how much they'll be able to learn, or how fast, but there's definitely things that would, ramp up their ability to cause damage, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I like the introductory scene of with Proximus.
His speech,
the charisma and the speech and the Caesar stronger together.
Yep.
And but yeah, so and then pretty much the girl May, she gets taken, and there's another human there. I don't even remember his name, to be honest. He wasn't that big of a character.
Yeah, he wasn't in it for that long.
But he's pretty much teaching the apes and helping with the electric spear, right, and all that stuff.
Yep, Trevathan was his name.
Trevathan, okay, yeah. I just know him from Shameless.
Yeah.
He was at the show Shameless.
Gotcha.
But he wasn't honestly, they could have done more with that character, to be honest.
Yeah, they could have. He was not that important.
No.
He was basically helping Caesar learn by reading to him, and he was saying to May that she should do the same because it'll make their life easy, and they have a good life there and stuff.
You have a chance here, yeah.
Yep.
And May's pretty much no, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm the one. What'd you say? I'm the one not helping the apes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "What's your name?" I'm the one not helping the apes. And then Noah finds his people. His two friends and his mom, and then the speech we kind of already talked about, and Proximus likes Noah because Noah knows more than most apes.
He fixed that shock stick thing, so he knows he's pretty smart.
Yep. And then
Proximus is trying to get May to help him open the bunker because they try and it doesn't work. Yep. And she says something like, there's no way you'll ever be able to break into that bunker. And so Proximus thinks she knows another way in, which we find out later she does. And Caesar helps her get in because they have to climb up a ways. So I keep doing that. Noah. He looks a lot like Caesar.
He does. Yeah. Probably purposely, too.
Yeah.
Unless down the road we'll find out he's lineage. I thought about that.
I was kind of expecting that, honestly. Yeah.
It still might be maybe later down the road he finds out somehow, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they capture him and it draws blood and they're like, oh, he has the same DNA as Caesar did. I don't know. There's some way they could do that.
Yeah, that's
because he does look like Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah, then the climbing comes back, like you said.
Yep.
So the beginning of the movie,
yeah, that was pretty good setup for that.
Yeah. And I thought that part, so the climbing was good and all, but once they get into that facility, I thought that was a pretty neat little section of the movie.
Yeah.
It was just kind of cool seeing the apes, when the lights turn on.
Yeah, get all excited and what's going on? Yeah.
And it's just seeing human, just us seeing lights turn on for the first time in the movie, and human infrastructure, and
yep.
And Even the thing May did with the lighting the sticks with the fire, like and
Mm-hmm.
containing the fire, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
with the sparks, or I don't know, she'd use like gunpowder or something.
Yep.
I don't know what she used, but
Probably.
and then they were looking around, and then she splits off because she obviously has her own mission,
Yep.
which we find out later what exactly that is. But she takes the computer, pretty much all the data from the computer,
Yeah, some kind of
and
data thing for satellites or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
And while she's doing that, the apes, Noah and his two friends, they kind of stumble upon a little school classroom and find a book, and it kind of shows, it's a zoo book, it's a kid book, like an ABC book,
Yep.
and it shows apes and animals like behind cages, and you could see they're starting to like question, should
Yeah.
we be with this lady or trust this girl?
Yeah, I
Like, are
thought that
humans
was.
really?
It's such a simple thing, like a little kid's book, but it makes total sense how
Yeah.
they would see that and be like, "Oh, this is how it used to be, huh? Well, maybe humans aren't the best." And I think that's a
Uh-huh.
neat way for them to throw in some doubt into Noah's mind.
You're right. Something as simple as like a little ABC kid book.
Yep.
It's crazy, and I get it too. And I think that was the moment where like Noah was kind of like doubting because throughout the movie he started kind of agreeing with Raka, right? Like, okay, like the
Yeah.
human, she, which I guess we missed that part, is she looked through a telescope and she saw,
Oh
like,
yeah.
they found a telescope and he looked through it and was amazed, like, what is this? And then he saw
Her do the
May
same
eventually
thing.
looked in it, and she looked, like I looked.
Yeah, she had that
And
same reaction.
and so I think he started to believe in like the right sees her way, but I think after that book, I think that was like the turning point
Yep.
where he started to doubt it again. Um, yeah, anyways, then they get out there and then they leave, they open the door, and
Yeah, because
I guess the
they
thing
have
we
a
missed too.
plan. Yeah, they have a plan to after
Yeah.
they get the thing that she needs to then use gunpowder to blow up the dam and flood inside there so that Proximus can't use any of that technology to,
Yes.
evolve. So they open the
Yes.
door,
Yeah.
but then they find you first see Noah's mother, and then Proximus steps out and basically catches them, knows what they were doing, and
Hmm.
is gonna take the vault or whatever it is.
Yeah. That was funny because like when May, so they're obviously holding the mom hostage, and Proximus is like, you got to pick between human or your own mother or kind, pretty much.
Yep.
And before he could make any sort of decision, May shoots the ape holding Noah's mom. And
Yep.
I thought Max's reaction was so funny. He was almost excited. He's like, "Whoa, what is that? Is there more in here?"
Yeah, he was excited. He's like, "Oh, that's the kind of stuff in there." Yep.
Yeah, he's like, "Ooh, more of that in there." um, and then now, of course, now Noah like doesn't want May to explode it because they're all like in there and they don't have a chance to escape.
Yep.
And May's like, "I'm sorry, I cannot let apes have what's in here. Like they
Yep.
can't access this technology and these weapons and everything because that's not good for mankind." And that's where like you get like they're buddy buddy, right? Like humans and apes. But when it push comes to shove, she has to do what's right for her people. But like, so does she really? That's what I love about the movie.
Yeah. Those
Like
gray
she at the end,
areas,
like,
man.
is that what we would do too? Like, would we do that too? Like,
Yeah.
would I be like, screw you guys, even though we came buddy buddy?
Yeah, it's a tough choice. I love that moral question that you kind of have to answer yourself. I think that, yeah, that's what's great about these movies for sure.
Yeah, and I loved it. And she obviously exploded it. And then it was funny, all the apes are panicking, and she was just walking up the dam, seeing the
Yep.
chaos from above. And then that whole flood scene was really cool. They all try to escape, and then, Noah fights uh, the big
Gorilla guy.
gorilla.
I
I
do
thought that
have
was a good fight because
I do have one nitpick with that scene where it seems like the water flows in and then floods higher than sea level, which wouldn't really happen, but that's just a small nitpick. Because Because it goes up pretty high. Unless there's one part where it like, goes down or something. I don't know.
I agree, because I thought they were just trying to get high enough to, like, above sea level. And I thought it was like, I didn't think they had to escape all the way to the cliff. I thought they're just going to higher floors.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the way out, they do know that, but you can see it rising higher than that first floor. And it's like, well, that wouldn't really happen, but okay.
Yeah. I will say, though, with the fight with the gorilla, they did drop all the way down, so it makes sense he got flooded and drowned.
Yep.
Which I thought that was an interesting fight, because, I mean, Noah kind of was like, I ain't going to take this guy on one-on-one.
Right. He outsmarted him, which, that's what he does. He's smarter than most apes, so that makes sense.
Yep. And like you said, that scene where, they all make it to the top, where they climbed in earlier in the film, so they knew where to exit, which made sense. The fight with Proximus, that was an interesting... You're right, I loved how, again, Noah kind of knew he wasn't going to freaking win.
Yeah.
And he used his eagles and his tribe. He did that little his little tribe song or whatever you want to call it. And which they hinted at earlier in the movie that Rocco wanted to hear it, but he's like, I don't sing. So like, I feel like that was the moment where he's like, okay, I'm taking over.
Yeah, and the eagle, like, finally, because he was always kind of antagonistic to Noah, but I think he saw that Noah had grown and changed and was like, okay, I accept you as Eagle Clan leader or whatever.
Yeah, so that was a really cool moment. I feel like that's like... That was like a Caesar moment. Like, this is like, I'm the leader now. Like...
Yeah. And man, I would not want to be attacked by that many eagles. That looked brutal.
No, Jesus Christ. And falling off the cliff. Shit, that might have been Mercy, just falling off the cliff and dying.
Seriously.
And then, that's pretty much... And then they make it back to their home, and they're, Noah said, we're going to rebuild, but rebuild stronger and smarter, pretty much. He has the knowledge now. And... that's the conversation we talked about earlier, where he has with May.
And before that, course, I think we see May go back to her bunker with that like disk drive or whatever. And
I thought that was after, no?
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe that was right at the end. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was after her goodbye to Noah. I believe right at the end,
they were doing all that, and then like it kind of showed both their faces.
Yeah, true. Ended. You're right.
But yeah, she goes and goes back to her bunker, and the lady walks out like in a hazmat suit.
Yep.
Which that's another question I have. So have these people never been outside since the virus? Because you would think the only people that are left are people that could survive the virus.
Yeah.
Like, no one's wearing hazmat suits.
Yeah, to me, the people inside are like sealed off from the virus, and they probably, if they're not immune to it, they're probably in there their whole life, unless they go outside with a hazmat suit. What about May, though? She must be immune to it. I'm thinking
they must. Did they test on her? Like, okay, you go out and see what happens, or did they find her?
They probably have been testing blood to find people with like.
No, that's true.
Some kind of antibodies to it, because like even in the first one, the grandpa started, having antibodies to the thing, and it stopped curing his Alzheimer's. So they probably have some of that information. But that's probably why they couldn't do it before, is they had to wait until they had someone who could go outside and not have to worry about being infected. But it's not really said in the movie, which is one of it
might be.
I had a lot of questions about May. Movie. Yeah, in the future movie it could be. I had a lot of questions about May, and I feel like some of them got answered, but man, I want to know a lot more about the humans underground and what's going on with them and what they're doing.
It's almost like Fallout, man.
I know. They were in a vault,
Well, that was pretty cool. So my other question too. So then it showed Noah. It was kind of going back and forth. So May giving the data computer thing to the other people, which a whole functioning room full of people, like it's an actual little society in there.
Yeah.
And then it shows them connecting it, and they're trying to communicate someone, and then it shows Noah showing his people or his friends the telescope that he found.
Yep.
And my impression I got from it, and I could be totally wrong because I read every review I read said it was them communicating with other bases. But my impression was I thought they would be trying to communicate with someone in space, like the Mars mission they sent. Well, not that, but I don't know.
Well, I
But I
think
guess it's been.
I think when they were talking to him, the other people said, "Oh yeah, we're in Indiana. Where are you guys at?" So I think that's why.
Oh, did it? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I did not hear that. Then I didn't catch that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think that could eventually be where they pick up, like, the guy from Mars. They might pick up his transmission or something. So that could definitely be set up for that. But I think
there has to be some sort of time travel, right? Well, at least there's time travel. Well, in the Tim Burton one, there's an aspect of time travel.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched that 2001 one with like Tim Roth and Mark Wahlberg.
I feel like I did. Yeah. I think I've seen all of them because I even saw the original long time ago.
Because there was, in that one, I don't know if you remember, he gets back to his home planet, and it's like, he lands at the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, and it's like, it's Ape Abraham Lincoln Memorial.
Oh, yeah. I think I do
it's like
remember
that iconic. And like he turns around, and basically it's all the apes. So I wonder if they're going to do something. Are they going to connect it to that? Are they going to connect it to the original? I don't know. They emphasize a space mission to Mars, but if it's been 300 years plus, how are they going to incorporate that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it's just
like
an Easter egg.
In the original, I feel like there was an aspect of time travel. And they could go like the interstellar route where like he gets too close to some gravitational anomaly and it,
yeah, that's true.
messes with time or something. Because I feel like that's kind of what they did in the original, but I don't know.
Yeah, that was the whole ending, right? He's like, wait, this is Earth.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like, this was it was a good movie in general, but it made me like it's a setup movie too, in a sense. Mm-hmm. Meeting a whole new set of characters in this kind of time period of the apes, and it's different. And I'll say I don't think it's as good as originals, just because, well, the other three, I guess, not the originals. Right. The originals to this world is I still, I know I mentioned it before, but I think it was the loomingness of, we're seeing like an origin of humanity getting wiped out, and I don't know, I think that overall anticipation, that looming doom sense, like we know the apes are going to take over. I felt like that had such a huge impact for me. And you don't get that as much here. You get some mystery here, but not like a sense of like doom, because it's already like the apes are already kind of in control.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't watched those other ones in a long time, but I from what I remember, I think I like those a little more. But yeah, this was still a really good movie.
And those are filmed amazingly too. Like, yeah. I know you haven't watched in a while, but there's a scene in Dawn of the Planet, or not Dawn, the middle movie, which should have been War of the Planet of the Apes, where there's like, the war was happening, and like there's a shot with the tank, and the tank's like spinning around, and you can see all the battle happening around. Do you remember that part?
I don't.
You should watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, I need to rewatch them.
Like every scene in those original three movies, especially the second two, Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes, where like you could take a screenshot of it and it could be a screen. Like, they looked amazing.
Yeah.
Caesar was freaking epic.
Yep.
The villains were amazing. The looming sense of doom, the origin story. You can't beat that. So it's kind of unfair for this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it held its own. It's hard to match that, but it definitely set up what could be another very interesting trilogy.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that was the purpose of this movie, is to make a good movie and then set up for the future. Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. I came out happier than I thought I would came out. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it as much, because I thought, man, they're just going to try to rake in the money. They're going to try to, how is it going to, like you said, live up to the whole Caesar arc and everything? Yeah. So I actually came out happier than I thought I would.
I agree. I did too. Yep.
So I really did enjoy it, and it made a lot of money this past weekend. So
yep, keep making them.
We'll get a sequel
as long as they're good. I say keep making them.
And how do you? So these movies are made like, and the original like Rise, Dawn, and War, like 180, 170,000, 170 a million. Sorry, not thousand
Yeah.
dollar budget. How does it look realistically amazing? And then you get like Ant-Man that's for like $280 million.
Yeah.
That looks like crap.
I don't know.
Like there's a lot of these movies that don't have. I mean, that's still a big budget, but don't have like Marvel movie budget. It's like, gee, how's it look better? Is Marvel just lazy now?
It also might be the amount they're paying the actors too, because I think a lot of that is actor money.
That is true.
Yeah,
that's very true. but
yeah, at some points, like basically through this whole movie, I didn't think about the CGI at all. They were just real apes to me. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like exactly. Like I didn't. Usually with most movies, I could spot there's like a iffy scene, even if it's just one scene. In this movie, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
Yeah, me neither.
So yeah, I enjoyed it so far. I mean, it's only May, but so far it's probably my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yeah, probably. I think I would agree with that.
But
yeah,
sweet.
Go see it.
That's kind of all I got on this.
I guess if you will listen to this, then you've probably seen it. But go see it again.
yeah, exactly. If you made it this far, they've seen it, or they're just weirdos. You just like to know spoilers before.
Hey, yeah, to each their own.
No, good for you if you like that, but you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
But anywho.
All right, what should we do next? Fallout or Shogun?
Let's do Shogun.
Shogun. I'm interested to see what your score is for this. But yeah, let's get into it. So,
and I'll let you lead these two because you've watched them a little more recent, right?
Yeah, I did watch Shogun more recently. Fallout less so, but we'll
Fallout, we could group all the episodes.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about Shogun, episode 10, the finale, A Dream of a Dream. So we'll give our scores and then give a spoiler warning, and we'll get into spoilers after that. So...
I didn't realize that title. I'm sorry. You just said the title, A Dream of a Dream.
Yep.
I did not think about that, but that makes total sense now.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that, because I have some notes on that. Yeah. So I think... I haven't really looked too much into how people felt about this finale. I feel like some people could have been disappointed by it, but I personally think for this show, this was like an almost perfect finale. And I'm really sad the show is over, but I'm so glad that we got the show. We had the great, same level of character work, great dialogue, and just like, I feel like there wasn't a ton of action, but this show really has never been about the action, and I think it kind of really fits into the finale of the show of how that happened. I'm honestly going to give this a 10. I felt like it was the most fitting finale for this kind of show. I really liked this show and this finale.
Okay. Okay. I thought this finale was crap. I hated it. It was trash. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, yeah, I was pretty sure you were kidding. You almost got me.
No, it was perfect. 10 out of 10. This show's not about the action. If you want the action, go watch something else.
Yeah.
The 10 out of 10. Is it what I expected? No, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all.
Yep.
It was great. For this show, perfect. 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change it any other way. I loved it. As a matter of fact, this is better than a big battle finale because this makes most sense for the characters in the show.
Agreed. Yep, and I cannot wait to read the book now. I'm going to go get it.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah, I want to get it for sure.
Now, how big is the book? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll let you know when I get it. I don't think it's that long of a book.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, 10 out of 10, for sure. I 100% agree.
Yep. So, spoiler alert now. If you haven't seen episode 10, go watch it. It's great. 10 out of 10. And but this is your warning that we're going to get into spoilers.
Warned.
Okay. The way they were setting things up, I was definitely expecting like a big battle or final giant set piece of like,
Well, the same. I was too.
yeah, Toranaga rushing Osaka. But I feel like I kind of felt like Ishido. I underestimated Toranaga and what his plan would do and how Mariko's sacrifice would sway things. I think the perfect summation of what happened is what Toranaga said, where they were talking about the wind, and I think Yabushige said something about like, how do you direct the wind? And he said, I just study the wind. And there's a lot of talk about the wind, like Mariko's poem was finished with just like the wind.
That's right.
And I feel like that all kind of sums up that Toranaga's not like causing everything to happen. He's seeing what's happening and making slight changes or like doing subtle things to kind of ride the wind or something. Like, I don't know. And not having to have a big battle is such a Toranaga way of winning.
Oh, yeah. He was 10 steps ahead of everybody. Like you said, me as a viewer, I should have known. We should have known.
Yeah.
But, we were fooled.
Yeah. And one thing I thought this finale did really interesting is it kind of made me think that Toranaga, like, it made me like, is Toranaga the right person to lead? Like, not that he's not a good leader, but he also has his flaws. Like, I think his flaw is like doing whatever needs to be done to get his goal or to, and we see that in like, he like kills a bunch of people in his town. He's like, tortures them. He's like not the good guy all the time. He does morally gray things. And that just makes for a really interesting character. Like there are some parts where I'm like, man, Toranaga's brutal, but he's also like smarter than everybody. And yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Oh yeah. Like he's not necessarily, like you mentioned, like he's not even necessarily a good guy. I mean, in this situation, sure, but like he pushes the envelope too.
Yep.
And I think Blackthorn sees that too, of course. But yeah, this was my favorite. I think my favorite part of the episode is when he was talking to what's his face on the cliff.
Yabushige, yeah.
Yabushige. I think that was my favorite part of the whole episode. That whole conversation.
Honestly, Yabushige may be one of my favorite characters in the show. He's like, I don't know. His talk with, first of all, seeing him go crazy, like he does lose it a little bit after Mariko's death. Like he's like talking to Ishido and like jumping in the pond after the catfish, and Ishido's like, "There's no catfish in that pond," and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
So seeing that his actions take the toll on him was really interesting. But then I feel like when he started talking to Toranaga and he knew that he was going to die, he kind of snapped out of that and was pretty clear, like mentally clear. And yeah, that last talk was so good. I love that
it's just
scene.
pretty much him, like, hey, just reveal everything to me. I'm going to die anyways.
Yeah.
And even towards the end, he's like, why tell dead man or whatever. What do you say?
Yeah, why tell the future to a dead man or something like that?
Yeah. I loved that scene.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you can go. I forgot what I was going to say.
So I don't think we really have to go into everything in this, like every scene, or go step by step. I do have a question for you. So the episode did start off with what seemed like a flash forward to when Blackthorn is old, and we see his kids, and he's laying there basically dying, and he's holding Mariko's cross. Was that real, or was that a dream?
I don't know. I flip-flop, but after hearing the title of the episode, maybe that was a dream. I think that was a dream. Maybe that was just his hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I think it was. There's two or three things. There's three things, I guess. The name of the episode, A Dream of a Dream, kind of leads me to believe it's a dream. The second thing is Toranaga saying Blackthorn will never leave Japan. Like, if Toranaga is deciding to never let him leave, he's probably never leaving, let's be honest. And the third one is in that he has Maruko's cross, but at the end of the episode, he throws Maruko's cross into the ocean with Fuji.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Yep.
So that's interesting that he had that dream. And I like how it's kind of kept nebulous, but yeah, it's like Inception.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Yeah. I did like how they started the episode with that, though. It kind of felt like Titanic-y.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, true.
Like older, kind of... No, I guess he's not telling the story, but, flash back to the story.
Yep. Or at least that's what we were supposed to think, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were supposed to think, yeah. Yeah, and I like the whole stuff with Blackthorn. Like you said, they tossed the necklace out while she tossed out the ashes of like her kid.
Yep, and I loved those scenes with Blackthorn and Fuji too, because she tells him that she's going to go become a nun, and he's like, "No, stay with me," because he's like super sad and probably lonely now that Maruko's gone, and now he's losing Fuji too. But then he helps her get over the loss of her husband and son by taking her out to sea.
Together?
I don't think so. I think she probably goes off to be a nun, but I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. All that stuff with her was great. I mean, it's been a few weeks now. What else are we missing?
I'm trying to look at my notes, but honestly, I just loved how... Because I feel like every week we were like, oh, Crimson Sky is going to happen next. They're going to rush the castle. There's going to be a big fight. And normally when there's not like that, I'm kind of disappointed when it doesn't happen. But in this, it worked so well. And just seeing like Ishido realizing it's not working, and Ochiba, like the reasoning why Ochiba sided with Toranaga makes sense, and with Maruko's sacrifice, and they even cut to the scene, or like they're talking about the scene, and it shows it where they meet in battle, and then Ishido realizes he doesn't have backup.
Yeah, that's right.
That just all was shot so well and acted so well. Toranaga, the actor for Toranaga, is amazing. I mean, all of these actors are good. I felt Blackthorn did a really good job in this one too, dealing with like Maruko's passing and figuring out what to do next. Him like fixing his ship was great, like rallying all the people to pull it out, and it was all just so well acted.
Yeah, all of them acted great, and even at the end of the episode with what's his name? The husband.
Buntaro.
Yeah, I even thought that was a great interaction.
Yeah.
At the end there, he almost like, I don't know, almost like respected him in the end.
Yep, he put aside his grudge and helped him out. Yep. That was a great... It's like a mini redemption, I would say.
Mini. Yeah, still an awful douchebag, but like the fact that the show kind of made us feel bad for him, it's like, okay, this show's doing something right, because I should not feel bad for him at all.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, well, I enjoyed it. 10 out of 10. This whole series, all 10 episodes, amazing. Like, highly recommend it. It's like a solid 10 episodes. Like, there's hardly any fault. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, so for the whole series, who would you say is your favorite character? That's a really tough question, but...
I would say... that's an interesting question. Because I like them all for different reasons.
Right, and I feel like each of them get different, like, highlights, and it's like certain episodes are, like, Blackthorn episodes, certain episodes are Maruko episodes, certain episodes are Toranaga episodes, so they have their own highlights.
I'll say after episode 9, I actually think Maruko is probably my favorite character and the best character overall. I think she... I love Toranaga, but I think she was the heart of the show. And I think she was purely good, but just way too loyal. And the actress was amazing. I would probably say Maruko. Yeah, I think I agree that like her story in this was super compelling and interesting to see her change with meeting Blackthorn and, her will of what needs to be done.
I will say, though, that the dark horse in this is Yabushige. I did not expect to be as invested in him and as interested in his story from episode 1, but man, just...
Oh, for sure.
And how, like, he's being used back and forth, but he's still, like, just seeing his face and his reaction to things.
He's almost just like a dummy, but, like, I don't know. Like, it's almost like, dude, what are you doing? Like, frustrating, I guess is the better word I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like frustrating in a good character. Like
he also brought like funny moments. He had some good talks with Blackthorn, and I don't know. He was just I loved every time he was on screen. I liked him too. He was also horrible, and I thought him asking for an interesting death was really funny because he's super into like weird death scenarios. And I think the biggest punishment Toranaga could have given him was no, you can't have an interesting death.
Oh, it was funny though. You're right.
Yep.
And I know it's stereotypical. No one ever says the main character, but I still think Blackthorn was a great character too.
Yeah, I agree. Many good characters.
Him being confused, after being with them for a while, being confused on where he belongs, and the inner conflict, and the transition between filthy, European, hot-headedness to slowly kind of accepting another culture. Like, he had a great story arc too.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're all, see, that's the great thing of the show. They all, like you said, they all have their moments in different episodes.
Yep.
So good. And it sucks that it's ending because, God, like, this could have been such a cool, like, series, but you know what? If it's like a perfection of one season, then that's probably better.
Yep, I agree. It sucks, but also we got it, and it was amazing, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, look at Game of Thrones last season.
Yeah. True.
This could have become that, Caleb. This could have become that.
I'm glad it didn't.
And I think that was I think people were trying to make this the next Game of Thrones show, comparison. And I actually think it's more closer. Have you ever seen Black Sails? Or, I haven't,
but I've heard of it, and I think you've mentioned it before, yeah. Yeah,
this actually feels more like Black Sails, like a time period kind of piece. That's more like pirates and stuff, but...
Yeah.
Because this is, like, it's Game of Thrones in the sense of the politicalness and all the characters, but it's not, it's Game of Thrones is more so about the overarching, doom of the White Walkers and betrayal and wars and battles. And
yeah.
This is not about that. This is actually like kind of the opposite.
Mm-hmm. True.
But no, I loved it. It was great, and I would say I can't wait for the next season. But there will be, unless they like see how popular it is and like pull one out of their butt. But
yeah, or just like find other period pieces to do. The same group.
That's true.
Or something.
Do like an anthology kind of series.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. I love this. This might be one of my favorite series I've seen in a really long time. Like, I can't think of
great.
Something.
It was solid.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's almost nothing to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to think of, like, negatives. I seriously, I can't think of a negative.
Yeah. There might be small little things in each of our episodes if we go back and watch, but like nothing glaring and nothing I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah.
Like we can with Loki, right?
Yeah. Oh God, let's not get into Loki again.
I swear I'm going to bring it up. This channel ever gets big, and that's going to be like my downfall, is me bagging Loki, because everyone loves Loki.
That'll be your thing.
But, yeah. But just because it was one of our first shows we reviewed, and like...
That's true.
I feel like it's the biggest one we've kind of disagreed on, but agreed on at the same time.
Yeah.
But, sweet. All right, what else we got?
Let's do Fallout.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Fallout.
So, should we just... yeah, go ahead.
What's that?
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, this will be interesting because you played the games, I haven't.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if our opinions will be different.
I do have individual scores for each. I'm not like super solid on them. Do we want to just group these last 4 as one, or
we can,
or like the whole overall show?
we could give the individual scores, but when we get in the spoiler section, we could just talk about the whole show.
Yeah. Do you have scores
right?
for each of
Does
them?
that work? Yes, I have them written down somewhere. If not, I'll look up the episodes and
Okay.
I could figure it out. What episodes do we have to review?
5, 6, 7, and 8.
5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Okay, if I remember. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
All right, let's talk about Fallout. Episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we talked about the first 4 a few weeks ago, but I've now watched all of them, and we're going to give our scores, give our thoughts, and then move into spoilers and talk about them. So we'll just go through the scores pretty quickly, I think, and just give a little blurb on each. So,
Yep.
Episode 5, I think, was probably my least favorite of these last 4. It was still a good episode. I liked some of the certain parts of this, and other parts I didn't like it as much, but I gave it a 7 overall. I thought it was pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to do one? I'll get my score now for this one.
Yeah,
and I'll
sure.
start the next episode too.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I agree. I still thought it was great. I gave this one a 7 as well. From what I remember, I liked it, but the last 3 were definitely better. And along with that, episode 6, I believe it's called The Trap.
The Trap, yeah.
I loved this episode. I think as the season got on, like these last 3 were probably the best, I think. Like I love these final 3 episodes. So I would give this one a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I actually totally agree. Episode 6, I also gave an 8. We got some like more backstory. Some of the characters were better than they were earlier, and just seeing some of like how stuff got so messed up was really cool in this one. So I gave it an 8. Episode 7, which was called The Radio, I also thought was really solid. I liked seeing some new characters, like meeting each other and seeing how they interacted. There were some interesting story beats that I was not expecting that got thrown in there. So I also gave this one an 8.
Okay. Yeah, I would. So with this one and the last one, actually these 3, if I'm remembering correctly, I like this one just as much, if not more. So I think I was teetering between 8 or 9 with this one, and I'll give it. I think I'll give it an 8 as well.
Okay.
And then episode 8, the finale, which is called The Beginning. I thought it was a great finale. Good setup. Action was good. Characters are good. I loved it. I would give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it ended. A lot of finales could falter, and I don't think this one did. It got me excited for more. And that, again, when we get in spoilers and to talk about the spoiler like stuff specifically, I'll kind of explain because I haven't played any of the games as a reminder. But yeah, I loved it, man. 9 out of 10. I think it ended great. Like I loved it.
Dude, we gotta stop doing this. I literally have the same. We've given the same exact score for every single episode. That's hilarious. Yeah, episode 8, I gave it 9.
Tastes, I guess.
Yeah, it was a great finale. Everything came together. Like all the questions, maybe not all of them, but most of the questions I had were answered in a satisfying way. It had really cool video game Easter eggs in there to see. Left us with some great hooks for the next season. And yeah, it was just really good. Like you said, great action, great acting, cool reveals. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it was a great, like, before we get into spoilers, I never played any of the games. This made me want to play the games, but
Yes.
you don't need to play the games to love this.
Yep.
I thought the show looked good. The actors look good. And I kind of told you in the last time we reviewed it a few weeks ago that even though I didn't like Maximus that much, once he gets to a certain point, I think I remember you, and I think you'll know what point I'm talking about. He starts to grow a little bit.
Yeah.
Still not my favorite out of the trio, but like I liked him more.
Yeah, for sure.
And I kind of understood his character a little bit more because that was one negative in the first few episodes we had.
Yeah, he definitely got better.
But a show as a whole, like honestly, I would give the show a 9 out of 10. Like I loved this show that much.
Yeah, it was
I
really
didn't want to
good.
turn it off. Like it got me especially the stuff I was shocked to love was the vault stuff because I didn't think we kind of touched on that, but I didn't think we'd see too much more about that after Lucy left.
Yeah,
But that stuff was so interesting with what's his name in there, the brother
Norm.
with Norm. Like seeing all that stuff down there, that was honestly probably one of the most interesting aspects of the show.
Yeah, I think they could. Well, let's get. I'll talk a little bit more about it in the spoilers. Yeah. So,
what would you rate the whole show before we get spoilers?
I think a 9. 9 is it was a really solid, especially for like a video game adaptation, which so often is just not good. Like they did it so well, and it felt like they really kept the spirit of the game. They gave us little Easter eggs here and there, even just like. The characters all seem to fit into archetypes that are in the game, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's cool, and that's something I don't have an opinion on because I haven't played the games.
Yeah.
But and maybe it was a show I had no expectations for, so I don't know if that is the reason the scores bumped as high.
Yeah,
but I don't think so. Like even. Well, we can get into spoilers. Let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, so spoiler alert for Fallout, episodes 5 through 8.
So a couple of my favorite things of the show, which I touched on one, was the vault stuff.
First I want to say, I'm pretty sure Norm has the trait small frame. it makes you way smaller. It makes you faster, but it makes you not be able to carry as much, and it seems like exactly the perk for him. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I couldn't tell. Is this dude an adult or a kid? Because he's tiny next to everyone.
Yep, he has the small frame perk.
That's hilarious.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry for cutting you off.
Great. That would explain it, though. That's hilarious. That's great. Oh, see, that's what I love about the show. And I read articles that the showrunners for the show were fans of the show or the game. They love the games, and you can freaking tell.
Yeah,
because you can't tell that with Halo.
Nope.
After watching this, I'm like, God, why doesn't Halo just do this?
Yeah.
Okay, but sorry, I can get on another rant. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
The two aspects, the vault aspect, I didn't expect to like see as much and be as interested in the vault stuff as much as I was. Norm became such an interesting character after the mystery started down there.
Yeah.
When they checked what vault was it, 31?
Yep, 31
or 33. Yeah,
they're in 33. And it was 31 is the secret one.
And then 32 was the one that was destroyed, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when they first saw 32, him and the cousin, I don't remember his name, they go in there and it's all bloodied and destroyed and creepy. It's like kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And then they hold the elections, and it's always someone from Vault 31 that wins the election.
Yep.
And so Norm starts to get all sketchy, with people from 31, and the show plays around with that too, because the cousin's with the girl from Vault 31.
Yeah, that's true.
And anyways, when they start like getting into that, and then they go back there, and the vault's all cleaned up, and Norm's like, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of creepy. Like, how did that happen? That was that was cool.
Yeah, that was. And then the whole, of course, thing with where they go in, or he goes into Vault 31 towards the end of the show. Just the whole vault stuff, dude, was so like that mystery of it. It almost felt like Lost for me. Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
and I loved that.
I love that too. You definitely explore the vaults in the games, but it's one of those things where you can just kind of run through it, pick up everything, and not really care about the story of the vaults. But in the games, if you go and like read the computers and all the logs, it like tells you, oh, this was set up as this kind of vault with this experiment, and then this went wrong, and like you can learn all about them. And that kind of felt like what Norm was doing. He was going and exploring and reading all the terminals and figuring out what was going on, and that was just so cool. Like you can literally do that in the game.
So I did start the Fallout 4 since I did that update.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. So like I didn't start until after I finished the show. But as I was doing it, I was like, wait, these are like the the terminals that this is like you said, exactly what Norm was doing. And which, by the way, the mystery at the beginning of Fallout 4, that was really interesting.
It's been a while.
I read all the computers, every single computers.
Nice, yeah.
About that experiment, and like you said, I could have just ran out and not learned anything about that experiment. But I read through I opened up one blog and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read this, and then I was actually like interested, so I kept reading it all, and I went to another one, read it all.
Nice.
But anyways, yeah, I can totally see that Norm. That's Norm. That's like our point of view from the game. And then one other aspect I loved is I loved the flashbacks with the ghoul. I think the ghoul is such an interesting character.
That was something I was not expecting to go into as much, because in the games, we really haven't had flashbacks pre-war, except for maybe at the beginning of the game when the bombs are dropping or something. But I thought the show did a really, like, that is a really cool idea to like follow kind of Vault-Tec as they're like planning the vaults and planning the experiments and planning even like them dropping the bombs. That was new to me. That was crazy. That was really cool to see. I loved that stuff.
Yeah, and then the ghoul's wife, I don't remember his name. Do you remember his actual name?
Cooper or something?
Cooper, yeah. I love seeing, because we're kind of from his perspective of like, you know, his wife's like, my wife can't do all this. My wife can't, no way. And then to find out like she was the one to suggest like dropping the bombs.
Yep.
Like I was like, dang. And I love seeing Coop's view, because like to go from that to what he is now.
Yeah.
Like, that actor did a great freaking job.
He did. And that scene where he learns, where he's listening to his wife, and then, like, I feel like the timing of that, they did that so well, where the fan comes in and it's Hank, and that reveal is like, what? And then you're learning about Vault 31.
Yep.
That all was just so satisfying. Those reveals. Yeah, like, back to back to back. Like, oh, what? How does this work? And then you're just, like, learning more, but asking more questions. It was great.
So freaking good, dude. And that finale, and that's just like these last few episodes, like just the mystery aspect. Honestly, they all felt like the show did such a good job with keeping the mystery going, but slowly still getting answered, so you're a little bit satisfied.
Like dripping little bits of info, instead of just more and more questions. Yep.
Yeah, like this, it did it so good, and like in the finale, even with Lucy, and then you see her mom, that's a ghoul, sitting at the table.
Yep.
Like that's almost worse than her just being dead. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that whole action scene at the end there was awesome. Yep. And then did you think Maximus was gonna die or no?
I didn't really get that feeling. No,
I didn't either. But I do like how. So, like, their relation, I will say, we mentioned it in our last review, their first glimpse of, like, when the ghoul was attacking and Lucy looked over at him, was, like, in awe and stuff, like, we were both kind of like, why would she be in awe, yada, yada, yada. I mean, about someone, I don't know, it just was weird.
Yeah, it did feel a little weird.
But I think their relationship kind of, like, I kind of got them together. Like, not them as a relationship itself, but just their dynamic.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Maximus definitely got better once he met Lucy, and I like that she had that kind of effect on him to make him like a better person and figure out more who he is. The relationship thing...
he needed someone like her.
Yeah, he did, because it makes sense. The Wasteland's full of just a bunch of people out for themselves, and so he learned to be out for himself. So, yeah. And
his best friend admitted that it wasn't him that did it.
Yeah, it wasn't Maximus.
His friend did it. His friend did it.
Yep.
Like, and I was like, man.
That makes sense why the friend didn't think it was Maximus. Because they knew that it was them. Yeah.
I know. I was like, okay, maybe I was a little too harsh on Maximus. And then like him watching the other knight die, like I think back, I'm like, is it such a bad thing? That dude was a douche, and does he? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I just grew a little soft. But the episode where they go into the vault, him and Lucy, that was a funny episode, by the way. She's like, "You want to have sex now?" And he's like, "What?" The thing happens.
Yeah, that was funny.
The thing happened, not to everyone. then later on, he's all comfortable. He's like, "You want to make my pee pee go boom?" Or something. Like, something funny.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
I'm like, dude, Maxis, you have like the opposite of game, dude. Like,
it's true.
You have this like pretty girl, like just pretty much say, "Hey, let's go have sex." You're like, "No." This is fun. I was cracking up.
Yeah. And him just in the vault with like the popcorn, and yeah, that was good. I also liked the reveal of, because we in the flashbacks hear about Vault 4, the one run by scientists, and then they go into that hospital looking to patch up Maximus, and they end up in the vault, which ends up being Vault 4, and you kind of see what would happen if a vault was run by just scientists, and that's a bunch of weird experiments that messed a bunch of stuff up. And even, I think it was revealed, even the Gulper came from that vault. Like it was an experiment done by them. So it all kind of tied back together. I love that. And just seeing more weird vaults is always fun.
Which the Gulper was a human, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we saw like the fingers in the mouth and stuff. Yeah. So that makes sense. It's weird. So but gross. Yeah.
And that was a weird vault, man, because they had that cult crap going on. They're all getting naked. And like, I was like, what is going on? Get me out of here.
I loved when they're like, when she's getting her punishment and they're like, we are going to sentence you to death by releasing you into the wasteland. And she's like, oh, okay.
She's like, and here's some supplies, but it will only last you 3 days. It's like,
this show definitely kept some of the comedy from the games, and I love that too. Like,
and it was actually funny too, not like cringy. It was funny. Like Maximus comes in like freaking like a hero, right? No, Maximus, stop.
Yeah,
that was funny. Oh yeah, and then he stole the core, right? And she's like, we gotta return it. He's like, gosh. He's like, do we have to? Another scene that stuck out to me, which was funny and like just interesting, was when they're crossing that bridge and there's those people.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, let's just do this. And then, Max is trying to like see her point of view.
Yep, he did try.
Like, I feel like that was good for like both of them. Like it was her, like she needs to be a little more hardened, and him, like, I don't know, it's a good lesson for both of them. I like that scene.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
They're cannibals, I believe,
yeah,
right?
They were cannibals. One thing that I didn't expect to happen, which I really liked seeing, was the story with Thaddeus after he escapes. So he gets like crushed by Maximus, his legs all messed up.
Oh yeah,
and then he meets that snake oil salesman. And he heals him, which is great. But then he finds out that he turned him into a ghoul, and that's what healed him. And if you know anything about the Brotherhood, which they do say, like the Brotherhood hates ghouls. They will just like, they want to wipe them out, from what I remember. So that really put him in a bind. And so
he's just running around somewhere out there.
Yep. And that makes sense why he would give the head back and just run away. So that all worked out. But it was interesting seeing someone become a ghoul and seeing the beginning of that, how it heals you at first, but then you're going to start degrading and needing drugs and stuff.
I was sketchy at first, like, dude, this is like a weirdo looking dude in the middle of a desert with some random medicine.
Who is
you really gonna like?
And the Thaddeus didn't see this, but he was like about to kill himself at the beginning before he saw Thaddeus. And like that whole thing is messed up. Yeah.
It was funny because Thaddeus is kind of like, he's kind of like a goofball doofus in a way.
Yeah, he is.
But I'm sure he'll reappear next season.
Yep. What did you think about Moldaver and where she left off? And like
Moldaver, remind me.
The lady who broke into the vault and also is like, she's the one who set up the Shady Sands, which we didn't really talk about Shady Sands yet. They basically built a civilization of the vault above ground in Shady Sands, and she kind of led that, and then it got blown up. But yeah, so what do you think of her character and where she's at?
What happened to her again? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure. So they
like at the end.
Did she? I know.
I don't remember. Oh no, she Maximus shot her, right?
I think she's dead, but she turned on the cold fusion, and now like all the lights are on and stuff. And
so this is I guess another good thing about the show is that is again like a gray area. It's like she's actually like right.
She is.
I think she's like right in the sense of like I agree with her, but I mean, I don't know. I like it's interesting because can I really like hate her?
Yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
really hate her. At first, it kind of sets up like
no,
she should be the bad guy, but they do a good job
yeah, yeah,
of placing her as kind of the voice of reason. And even
yeah.
in the
Oh, yeah.
flashback, she kind of seemed like a kooky like cult leader almost. But when you really
Yeah,
think about what she's saying and then seeing like the Vault-Tec stuff, you're like, you know what? She's right. Vault-Tec is not great.
she's
They're doing some messed up stuff.
yeah. I mean, honestly, if this show was in a point of view of like them, like they are the good
Yeah.
guys, like right? I
Hmm.
know, Vault-Tec is trying to do good for the humanity, but it is all about
It's corporate
money
greed.
and
Yeah.
control. Yeah,
Yep.
like they don't want what's best. They just want to control. They know what's going to happen, right? They knew nuclear war was imminent, not
Imminent.
intimate, imminent,
Yeah.
and the ghoul's wife is like, well, we need to control it. We need to be the one to start it so we can control it pretty
Yeah.
much.
Hmm.
So like Voltec are douchebags.
Yeah.
So like yeah, she's not the bad guy. Like they set it up pretty much like the dad. It kind of reveals the dad's the bad guy
Yeah. Hmm.
in a sense.
I think he's definitely going to
um
be the bad guy in the next one, next season, or like the
yeah,
main like driving force
yeah,
antagonist kind of
like
thing.
the overall, yeah.
Um,
And where things left off with Norm, we don't really know what happened to him. He just knew that little robot thing said he can't leave, right?
yeah, he's like trapped in Vault 31, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, eventually, like they get released from their cryopods to go into one of the vaults to like have kids or something, right? So eventually, someone's going to have to
Yeah,
leave from there. So, but I don't know, or maybe he'll get
yeah,
rescued or something.
yeah. And those little cryopods, I saw them in Fallout 4. I'm like, oh, I know what that is.
Yep. Hmm. One thing I liked about Moldaver is with that Shady Sands, it was the seat of the New California Republic, which is a really big faction in
Yep, I remember just saying that.
several
Yeah.
of the Fallout games, like Fallout New Vegas. It's basically Caesar's Legion, the Mr. House in the like strip, and then the New California Republic, and they all kind of fight over the Hoover Dam. So seeing seeing the flag was really cool. It's basically the California flag, but with a mutated bear with two heads. Um,
Oh,
and seeing how their civilization was going and how good it was, and now it's all in like that place is just a crater, and the Republic is pretty much fallen apart is really interesting. Um, and I also liked how it's still. I mean, she kind of is right, but you can kind of make a I don't know. Every faction in Fallout games kind of seems like good and bad. You can make an argument for any of them. Like even with
for
season,
both.
yeah, like
Yeah,
some people are like harsher, but maybe they have a reason to be. Some people have better ideals, but maybe they go about it wrong. Like there's always some kind of gray area, which I like.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That I will say I was surprised by the show with the sense of not like a clear good and bad guy,
Yeah,
like with the main. I wasn't expecting that, but I haven't played the game, so like I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't sure they
Um,
would do it in the show really, but they did a good job.
mhm.
Even with like the
And
ghoul,
then of course,
like
yeah, because the ghoul, he's awful, but like so is his whole point? He's trying to find his wife, then, right? Is she frozen somewhere?
yeah, I would assume she is.
Is he,
Yeah.
what about her? What about his daughter? Is his daughter gone? Did they explain that? I don't
He
remember.
said he's looking for his wife and daughter, I think. So he's assuming
So
that
then
they
maybe
might
they
be
all got.
frozen. Yeah.
So so I'm very curious because this did get renewed for season 2. I'm very curious. They have to go into more flashbacks of them, right? Because we need to find out how he became a ghoul and
Yeah.
how his wife and his daughter got frozen. What
Right.
happened to make him not get in
Especially,
the Cairo chamber thing?
yeah, especially because the last we see them, the bombs are going off and he's riding with his daughter on a
Hmm.
horse. And like, how can she still be
Hmm.
alive? Or maybe she's ghoulified? Maybe, like, yeah, there's a lot of questions with that. So I'm sure that'll be coming.
That'll be interesting to see him find. I wonder if he'll find them next season or if that's gonna be like a series kind of arc.
Yeah.
Um, And then, of course, the final scene, which I'm even, I haven't even played games, and I know people are excited, is that,
Yep.
seeing New Vegas,
Oh, that was
which
so exciting.
I read that this is based like 15 or something years after the events of the game.
That'll be interesting because I wonder what is going to be the canon ending of the game, because you can side with any of the three factions. Actually, there's like 4 endings I think you can do. So I'm interested to see what they do with that. But yeah,
let's see. Because I'm reading here. Fallout show takes place. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
The Fallout show takes place in 2296, which is 15 years after New Vegas, which is set in 2281.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, seeing New Vegas,
so that game is still
instantly recognizable.
That game is still canon.
Yeah. Okay.
Because people were worried, like that does like if this is set in the future, or they were worried that game would be canon, but the creator said the game is still canon.
Good.
So
good.
I'm curious, like you said, how they'll do it. But yeah, I even recognized it, and I didn't play the games.
Yeah, that was such a cool moment. And I've been like watching stuff because it's been a long time since I played Fallout 3 or New Vegas, and I've been watching some stuff about them, and I think New Vegas is definitely the best game. Just rewatching some of it. I think
that's most people's favorite.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited to see that. Yeah. It'd be cool if they remade it so that it's not as old. Like do upgrade the graphics or something. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. I think I read somewhere that Bethesda's like up in the next Fallout game because of this popularity.
Yeah, I would believe
the priorities are shifting more.
They should. Ride the wave.
Yeah, I laughed because I don't think Fallout, like, obviously they're making it, but I don't think it was like their number one priority. Yeah. But I think they're moving.
Elder Scrolls probably was, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I loved it, man. This was a pleasant surprise because I don't think anyone expected anything from the show.
No.
I think I saw like one trailer and it was like a little ad on like YouTube or something.
Yeah, I heard about it a long time ago when it was like being made, but then I just totally forgot about it and didn't hear anything about it. And I was like, oh, it's out. Okay, I'll watch it. But yeah.
And then it all like released at once. Mm-hmm. So like, you didn't get like the weekly, which I think is a blessing. Like it's fun for us. Like it's fun for people that like to binge.
Yeah.
But I think the weekly format like is more like culturally fun.
Yeah.
Like you could talk about it weekly, get excited for the next week. It's more hype.
I agree. Yeah.
Plus it's easier to review.
That's true.
Like I used to hate the weekly thing and I like to binge, but I don't know. I kind of like the weekly thing. I like the anticipation.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like the culturally, like being able to talk about it and speculate, and when it's all out, you kind of lose some of that. So, but yeah,
like because everyone finishes at different times, so.
And you can't really speculate. You can just go watch the next episode.
Yeah, exactly. There's no like, exactly. There's no like discussion about the happenings of the show. It's more of like what happened, what's going to happen, which isn't as fun.
Yep. But yeah, great show.
But yeah, loved it. 9 out of 10.
Very surprised and very happily surprised. So, yep.
Yes. Sweet.
All right.
Till season 2.
Yep. Okay. Do we want to talk about Dark Souls or X-Men? We'll just do these pretty quick. We don't have to go too in-depth on them.
Yeah. Well, let's do X-Men first.
Okay.
Let's get the shows done.
Yes. So I didn't really give a score yet for each of them. I just kind of watched them. And, but man, I've been...
Okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about X-Men 97. Just as a high level... we don't have to review. We'll talk more in depth about it next week when it's all out and we both watched all of it. Yeah. I've watched the first 4 episodes and I have to say I am loving it. It's been, we talked about, surprises earlier, but man, this one was a surprise. I did not know this was coming out at all. Just saw it on Disney, started watching it. You mentioned it too. And yeah, it's been great. Like the animation looks amazing. The story's been really cool. So thank you for recommending it. I've been loving it.
I know I've been bothering you about it for like 2 weeks, but I was so excited to talk about this. So for the first 4 episodes, what would you give a score overall? I have a score for individual, but if you don't,
Oh man. So far, probably like a 9 or a 10. The only thing that would bump it down to a 9 is I don't really care about Jubilee, and there was a whole Jubilee episode. But other than that, that's basically been my only complaint. So I guess like a 9, yeah. 9 maybe could bump up to a 10 with the last few episodes.
So I was going to say, based off the first 4 episodes, I would give it a 9 because I do think the pacing, like you said, that episode 4, while I thought it was a cool episode in the sense of like animation and stuff, like overall, like I didn't care for it. And I believe that villain appeared in like the older show.
Yeah, I think so.
Because did you know this is a continuation of the X-Men show or the other one? Right?
Yeah,
or no?
yeah.
Did you know
I figured that out from watching it. Yeah.
Which I didn't watch too much of the original one in '92, but I watched reruns a little bit. But I watched more of the other. There was another X-Men show. So this was based off the X-Men animated series, which is funny because it ran from 1992 to 1996, hence why it's called 1997.
That's funny.
But there's another X-Men show. X-Men Evolution is the one I watched. It came out like 2000, 2003.
Okay, yeah.
But anyways, the first 4 episodes, I'll give a 9 out of 10. But if you're talking to me about the last half of the season, minus the final episode that hasn't come out yet, 10 out of 10.
Nice.
No questions asked.
Nice. I'm excited for the rest of it then.
Oh, it's freaking... I think I texted you. Episode 5 is probably the best Marvel animation I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm watching next. Episode. I'm super excited.
Yes. And, I would even go as far as saying episode 9, too.
Okay.
Episode 5 and 9, woo!
Nice.
I mean, all of them are good, but those 2 episodes specifically, oh, man. But, all right, we could talk about the first 4 if we want to get into spoilers.
Yeah, let's talk about spoilers. So, spoiler alert for X-Men 97, the first 4 episodes, and then next week we'll talk about the whole series. Let me get the... I think I texted you this, but just, like, when I knew this was going to be a great... Like, it looked good from the start, but when I knew this was going to be my kind of show was when Cyclops showed up in that first fight, and he was, like, using his beams to, like, reposition and, like, dodge stuff. And, like, the movement, the choreography of the fights just seemed so well thought out, so interesting, and... The animation just looks so smooth and so good. Oh, it's great.
The style is amazing. It has that old school like VHS looking style, which is what they're going for, but it still looks like you said smooth and like modern and HD. Oh, it's I love the animation.
Yep.
And man, the opening song. Please don't tell me you skipped the opening.
No, never.
Do you skip it, man?
No, never.
Oh, it's amazing,
yeah, it's
dude.
So
I love the opening so much. It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh, I love it. I even love the credits where it's like showing them like you're picking up video game
characters. That's exactly what it reminded me of. Yep.
Yeah, I freaking love, dude. I love the show so much. But episode 1, like you said, the Cyclops. It's hard to make Cyclops cool.
Yeah,
but they made Cyclops cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like you just think of him like even in the movies, he's just like using laser beams, but man, they had it so he used it in such a cool way, such an interesting and unique way.
Yeah, instead of like, it's just like if you've seen the live action movies, they did Cyclops dirty.
Yeah, they did.
They did Cyclops dirty.
Yep.
But not this show. Woo! He's so good at this show. I love it. And all of them are good. All of them have their moments to shine. And I mean, even Storm, she has that cool entrance, and Storm is just obviously powerful.
Yeah, Storm is amazing. And I'm interested to see where her story goes in this, because, I'm at the part where she's trying, so she loses her powers at one point.
That's right. That was in episode 2, I believe, with what's it, Exterminator?
Executioner.
The Executioner. Yep. Executioner. But yeah, that was a good episode too. Episode 2 episode 1 was saving what's his name, Roberto?
Yeah, Roberto. Or I think he's Sunspot is his mutant name.
Sunspot.
Yep.
So this episode actually mirrors. So after watching this show, I started watching the original one. Nice. So I'm on like season 2 of the original show. And this kind of mirrors the very first episode of that show, because in the very first episode of that show, the X-Men are saving Jubilee.
Yeah, I did watch that recently. I went
Yeah.
before this even came out. I was like, I'll just throw this on, and I watched that episode.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So I kind of thought that was kind of a cool, like, I don't know, continuation, but kind of like a little nod, like a new team helping a new member.
Mirror it. Yep.
Oh, but yeah, that whole episode was awesome, and I loved. I think the highlight for me too was the ending, or towards the ending, where again Cyclops, he uses his like lasers to land.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
He's like, great job, team. See you on the ground, and he has like this epic. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, that animation for that
Cyclops
was
redeemed himself.
Amazing.
Even in that episode, Wolverine and Gambit, the Gambit like charges Wolverine's
claws
and Morph like turns in like some chubby. I don't know. He turned into some chubby thing to bounce him up.
He turned into the blob. Yep.
Oh yeah, did he? Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
And the freaking chopped. Oh, dude, you're right. The action and it is amazing. I cannot. You should watch episode 5 tonight.
Yeah,
man,
I will. And
I can't wait for you to watch it.
I'm not too familiar with Morph, but I really like that he allows the animators to bring in other people that wouldn't make sense for the scene, but like still use their stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I agree. Morph. I don't know much about Morph either, and I don't know much about Bishop either.
I know a little bit more about Bishop, but he was in Days of Future Past, I think.
Yeah, that's right. He was. I guess Morph wasn't in the show at all, was he? Or movie?
No,
sorry,
I don't think so.
At least not that I remember.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then it ends with Magneto coming back in episode 1, and then episode 2, I thought was a great episode as well. I'm probably even better than the first, just because the whole aspect of is Magneto really trying to change? Is he not? Again, this is like we're watching a lot of things right now with this gray area.
It's true. And I love Magneto.
Same thing with this.
And a good Magneto is really interesting. Like one who's on the same side of the X-Men. I always love that because you never know, something could happen where he goes, off the deep end or something, but it's so cool seeing them work together.
It's even like Jean says, right? Like Cyclops is like, just read his mind. And Jean's like, even if I read his mind, that's right now in this day, this hour, this minute, that could change, like you said, in a flip of a switch.
Yep.
So like, there's no point in doing that. But yeah, then the Executioner, which in this episode, you're like, because I thought, I'm like, oh, he's done for. They ruined their chance.
Yep.
But he was still like, I made a promise to a friend.
Yeah.
This is my way of showing you guys.
If that was movie Magneto, he would have gone crazy and killed some people. But I like how he kept to his word to Xavier.
Even at the beginning when he saved the people, or was he fighting around? Like, did you kill them? Like, no, they're alive, but very well deserved injured, or something like that. Yeah, again, that was a great episode. And the third episode, I really liked this. This episode was interesting because I wasn't expecting this episode.
Yeah, I had heard of Mr. Sinister and I knew kind of what he did, but I didn't realize how villainous he was. Like, and I've also heard of Madeline Pryor, but I think I just had her in like a mobile game or something, so I didn't really know her origin. And like that moment when Jean Grey shows up and it just like cuts back to the other Jean Grey, it was a like, what the heck is going on kind of moment. That was really interesting.
Yeah. And this episode, like the animation really stuck out to me because they did some wild stuff in this episode.
Yeah, they did, with like Madeline Pryor and that fight with her and like the creepy Halloween kind of vibe of it. Yeah. Yeah,
like this. So my kids are watching this with me, and this is the episode I was like, oh, that's kind of a little creepy.
Yeah.
Like, but like I really this. I think this episode is when I like started to be like, okay, this show's gonna be cool because it's like not afraid to do different things.
It is not afraid. Yep, like having the whole like moral question of that child being, they don't know who the actual Jean Grey is, and like whose child that is, and then it getting like ill and has to go to the future, and I know who that becomes, but I won't say it because I haven't watched it. But like that's all
Yeah,
Like,
you do?
yeah,
You know who it becomes?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess we could say it, right? We're in spoilers, so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming he shows up later. It's Cable, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Cable, and I knew that too.
Yeah, I love Cable. He's awesome.
Cable is awesome.
He also almost has my name.
But like my Cable. But you're right. Like the whole like when was Gene? When were they switched? Turner clone. Like what point?
Yeah.
I'm assuming in the older show were they switched.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
like
they don't know.
And so like
yep.
It's just interesting. And Mr. Sinister, he's I've said this before in our reviews. Sometimes I'm just a sucker for just a bad guy, man. I don't always need a like morally gray villain.
Yeah.
Like I love him, but sometimes I just like a baddie, man. Just give me someone who's freaking
especially for these like
sinister
one
no
episode villains. Like, yeah, this guy's just evil.
Yeah, like there's something about like just cool. Like he's just freaking evil. He's just evil. What is he? I think he's like a mad scientist. They said, right? Kind of turned crazy and experimenting.
Yep, and getting eternal life or something. Yeah, because he was from like the 1800s.
That's just cool. That's a cool villain origin story.
Yeah.
If you're just looking for a straight sinister villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, this episode was my turning. The first two episodes are great, like you said. The first action scene with Cyclops,
yep,
and even the second episode of second episode felt like X-Men, the moral dilemma. And then this episode was one like, okay, like they're like getting into some gnarly, weird. They're not afraid to do some things, like
yep.
And then episode 4 happens.
Yeah,
which is
I'm pretty sure there's like a Jubilee meme where all Jubilee stuff sucks, but it kind of tracks. Like, I did not care. Like, some of the animation was cool. Some of the video game like animation looked pretty cool, and it was cool seeing like the old school video games being translated into this. But yeah, I don't really care about Jubilee.
No, like I like her powers. Her powers are kind of cool and fun looking.
They're cool looking. They're not that useful.
Cool looking, I should say.
They definitely make them look cool. With the animation, but
they're fun to watch, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
But even what's her face's part, Storm's part. It just this whole episode felt,
Yeah, Storm. Mm-hmm. That's what.
This whole episode just felt discombobulated.
Yeah,
like it just felt it was off. It was weird going from that to Storm. Like it was just weird.
Yeah, I agree.
So this episode was my least. This is why I would knock it down to 9 too.
Yeah. Still really good animation. Still pretty cool fights, even though it was Jubilee. But yeah, it just wasn't my favorite.
I like the concept. Like if this was like a 20-something episode show and they have like knockoffs episodes, I would like this episode more. It's like kind of a little knockoff. Like, oh, that's cool. True. They're like in a video game.
Yeah.
But like we just had so much serious stuff happen, and then like we know this is only a 10-episode season, so like this felt it just felt like
unnecessary.
yeah, unnecessary.
Yeah.
But the good thing for you though is that was probably the lowest point of the show, because my God, the rest of the show you're gonna love.
Nice. I'm super excited to talk about it next week. Then. Super excited to watch it. I'll definitely.
I hope I'm not overhyping it, but
I don't think so. I think it'll be good.
But like 10 out of 10, man. 10. I don't even need to watch the finale. What happened at the end of episode 9, dude? I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Like episode 5 and 9, but like episode 9, what happened at the end? It was like, oh dang, like they're going there. That's all I'll say.
All right.
With episode 5 and 9, you'll love it, dude. I know you're gonna like it. Like I think I'm so excited about this because I've always liked the X-Men movies, but this is making me freaking love X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of like you where I watched like one-offs. I never watched like the whole thing back to back to back because I mean it was just on TV. Mm-hmm. I would catch it sometimes. I wouldn't catch it other times. Yeah. So yeah, seeing this like all the way through and I don't know, just seeing all the stuff we've seen in movies, but just like I feel like this is more closer to the source material, and that's really fun. Yeah.
And it helps in, I'm sure, being an animation.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching the show, like, doesn't it just feel like you're a kid watching? Like, don't you feel so like good watching the show? Like it's a Saturday morning
Yeah.
cartoon, but like on steroids as an adult.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly,
Like,
I think I texted you this, but this is up there with like Avatar as far as Western animation, like
yeah.
getting close to anime levels of like, thoughtful choreography, great like effects of like the lights and the like all the extra stuff of the animation, and just like
Yeah, even with like the glasses,
energy, the
reflection off the
glasses.
glasses.
Yeah, like just it feels like they're really detail oriented about everything in the show and making it look really cool.
Yeah, like everything matters, and you could tell they care. And this actually, they filmed, or they did season 1 and 2 back to back.
Ooh,
So like
nice.
season 2 is already done,
Nice.
and it's renewed for season 3.
Yes, good.
So we're definitely at least getting 2 more seasons, and season 2's done. All right,
Nice.
so we'll get it next year for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And one more little fun fact I didn't know is, so this is the first. So in the older X-Men show, X-Men the original one in 92 to 96, the one they were allowed to have Wolverine in it, which ironically it's funny. You'd think Wolverine is the one character we didn't really bring up.
Yeah, true.
Well, I did, I think, for a second.
Yeah.
But anyways, they could only include Wolverine if he never stabbed anything but Sentinels. So like in the original show, he never stabs anything.
Interesting.
Which I thought was like, which is what I thought was funny. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he'll like stab someone in this show. Is that still like a thing?
I don't know. Maybe that's why, because like he stays back with Jean and doesn't go fight the FOH or whatever they were. So maybe that's why they're doing. They have that kind of stuff where he stays behind because they can't have him stabbing.
I don't know though, because they're like doing some other like dark stuff.
That's
so I'm
true.
Like, they could. I don't like. This seems. I mean, it's on the beginning of the episodes. It says TV 14, so it's not like it's like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just like, I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah,
so
it'll be interesting.
But yeah, dude, excellent. I cannot watch episode 5 tonight, man. That was probably, I will say episode 5 is probably the best episode, and then episode 9 is right there with it. And I cannot wait for episode 10.
Sweet. I will definitely finish it all this week. Like, I breezed through. I started watching this like yesterday, and I watched 4 episodes, so.
Yeah, it's easy watch, quick watch, and also an addicting watch. So, but yeah, I'm excited for next week to talk about the rest of this, because I obviously don't even know how it ends, because the finale's not out yet. So
cool.
We'll both know at the same time.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's all I have on that. All I got. Okay, so tell me about your Dark Souls journey so far, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, Dark Souls. We make this quick. So I have tried Dark Souls a few times over the years since it's been out. It came out in 2008 or 12, I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I tried it once, and I turned it off right away. I tried it one more time a few years later because it's on sale on like the Xbox One, and I got a little bit farther, but then I got to the stupid skeletons, and I stopped. And then Elden Ring came out. Elden Ring.
Yep, that was my beginning too.
The Golden I know a lot of the Dark Souls, the Souls fans, the Golden Child is, the Dark Souls series, but for a lot of modern players, Elden Ring, man, that is the holy grail that got me into it.
I think Elden Ring, people say it's the easiest Souls game, and I kind of agree, but it's also like the best place to get into it if you've tried and failed in other ones. Like Elden Ring's a great place because you can go somewhere else and do something else and level up and then come back, where the other ones you can't do that as much. And it kind
of teaches you exactly, like if you're struggling in one part of that game, just go somewhere else.
Yep.
And then it like teaches you kind of the way of Dark Souls. And so I played that, albeit I never completed it, but I got like 60 hours in or something.
You need to, because DLC's coming out soon.
I know. Dude, that's so much commitment. Because then I got to restart a character. That's so much commitment. But anyways, then I got to Dark Souls again. I got on sale. It was on sale for $20. I had $15 gift cards. So I got it for $5.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it because we've been talking about it for months
Yep.
now. And I turned it on, and I got through the first area. I'm like, okay, this is better than I thought. And then I beat the first little tutorial boss, and I got down to the main little hub area, talked to a guy, go ring the 2 bells. I walked over the skeleton area because I remembered it, and I was getting, beat up. But then, I learned.
Yep.
I learned from Elden Ring. You know what? I'm gonna go explore other areas, and I did. And then I went up, and I did that whole upper area and beat the gargoyle bosses.
Yep.
And that I fell in love. I was addicted, and I love Elden Ring. But my favorite parts of Elden Ring were like the dungeon type areas, and like Dark Souls is literally that.
Yep, it's just all dungeons.
And so like I am in love, dude. Like I am addicted. I can't stop. I get pissed off.
Yep.
But I keep going, and like it's the most rewarding thing in the world. And the story, like I've been like YouTubing and reading more about the lore, and then even like the health. Like I didn't even realize like that's fire from the flames.
Yep.
Like and like knowing little things like that, it makes me appreciate and love the game even freaking more. Like it's deeper than you'd think.
Yeah.
Well, at least than an average person who tries.
This channel right here.
Thinks.
If you want Dark Souls and Elden Ring lore, this guy has so many good videos of it, going in deep to it.
Vati Vida.
Vati Vida, yep.
Video.
I can text it to you.
I might. Yeah, text it to me, because just knowing that, I was just curious. I'm like, what is this? It's called like what's it called? Via whatever. Vitilia.
Vati.
No, I mean the health.
Oh,
the health.
Isn't it Estus? Estus flasks?
Or Estus, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever heals you, like, it's knowing that little lore, and it makes sense, like, the campfires, like, I guess it even kind of mentions it in the first opening scene, like, fire was, like, the biggest evolution thing, whatever we figured out as a human race. And so, like, it makes sense that the campfire, like, as long as the campfires are burning, you keep coming back. And that's another thing I love. Death is actually, like, part of the freaking story, right? Like, it's not just most games you just die and, it's a video game.
Yep.
I don't know. There's just so many little things about this game where even the NPCs, like, half the time, like, what the heck is this crap? What is this weird looking dude? Like, what is this? And I'll go look up things. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, and you can like find so much in the game if you just like listen to them talk or read item descriptions, and like it's like drip fed to you, but it's there and it's really cool. Like you can go watch YouTube videos and they put it all together and tell a really interesting story. It's a way different storytelling.
I will
mechanic.
do that after the game. Yeah. I think that's my favorite besides the combat, which look, I know we talked about it. I love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I love it to death. And I'm only comparing it to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because we just recently played that. Yeah. It's unfair to compare it to this because I'll say this about any games. But my God, if you're talking about a straight video game, this has the best combat. It doesn't beat around the bush. You have the best combat, the best upgrading system, the best rewarding, fulfilling.
Yeah,
like if you're talking pure rewarding combat, nothing's better in the Souls games.
Yeah, bosses. I agree. I love the combat. I've fallen in love with it. I'm similar to you where I started in Elden Ring, but once I beat it, I went back and played all of them like back to back to back to back. I got so obsessed.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play 2 and then 3. And then I have to finish Bloodborne 2, which I got pretty far in that. And then also I'll probably play Demon Souls again. And then
Sekiro.
I think yes, although before that, I do really want to play. God, what's the game you just got again?
Stellar Blade.
Eve? I don't remember the name
Stellar
again.
Blade.
I want to play Stellar Blade, and I also do really want to play Lies of P.
Yeah.
So there's a lot I want to play, and I heard that Sekiro is like freaking hard.
It's so hard. It took me 3 times to get into it, I think. But there's one part where I just like beat my head against the wall, beat this one guy, I just learned it. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn it. And then I got it. And then I was like, okay, I get this game. And then I died again, like to other bosses, learning them.
You never looked back?
But I knew what to do. And I was like, okay, I get this game. This game is amazing. The combat in that game is some of the most rewarding combat I've ever played.
Oh man, do you like that more than the Souls games, like Dark Souls?
No, I think I like the Souls games overall more. But I think the Sekiro stuff is more dynamic and engaging. Like you really are everything. You're blocking all the attacks. You're like it's like a rhythm. It's like a flow. You're like dancing almost. It's beautiful.
Interesting. I'll definitely get to that. One step at a time.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Yeah. It took me like a year to get through all of them, so no rush.
Yeah. I will say the biggest, besides the combat, I guess my absolute favorite thing about it is I'm just so like there's no mini map. I'm just so like this world, just everywhere I look, I'm so interested in. Like, I want to know more about things.
Yep.
I'm scared to go to the next spot, but I'm so curious about the next area. And there's like, I love that there's no mini map, and you have to like, it forces you to learn this world.
Yep.
Like, you have to love it. You have to learn it. Like,
and I will say, Dark Souls 1 probably has the best level design, world design. Like,
does it?
Yeah, it's so amazing. The other ones have good level design, but this one, the way, I don't know how far you are in it, but like, it's really good.
I'm down in the catacombs now, which screw the catacombs.
Yeah, the catacombs suck. Get a weapon with holy on it. They don't revive if you kill them with holy weapon. I literally
I saw
picked up a crappy mace or something and just put holy on it, and it did way less damage, but it was way less of a hassle.
But it was, well, because what I did for the first little area, at least, was I just killed I literally would sprint all the way there, kill little lantern dude, die, and then go, like, that's what I was doing, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which I should have put blessing, because I read that afterwards.
Yeah.
Because at first, when I first went in there, because I'm not looking anything up about this game. I'm going in like, well, I'm not looking anything up about like the map. Like, I'll look up builds and stuff. Mm-hmm. So at first I was like, why aren't these skeletons dying? Like, I was getting pissed off. I'm like, I killed you. They were dying up there.
Yep.
And then finally, like, I learned like, oh, these little lantern guys control them, and you kill that, and then they don't revive in that area, at least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was literally brum rushing to those lantern guys.
That works too.
And then I would die. And then I would just clear my way to there, and then I'd go do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, so like I have the Claymore, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm. That's a good weapon.
And I upgraded to like, it's like at +4, I think, right now.
Nice, yeah.
And then I'm my dexterity and strength is at 20 right now, and then now I'm leveling up my my health.
Nice. Yep. Health is amazing in these games.
So with my pyromancer, like, say I use the claymore for a lot of the game, what? So you said there's a way eventually so where I can upgrade the strength of my flame?
Yeah, I think you can upgrade
because that's not upgraded through stats. That's upgraded through specifically upgrading it, right?
I think it might get a little boost through stats, but the upgrades are what gives it more. Yeah. I also started as a pyromancer. I didn't really use it that much though. But there is an NPC that lets you upgrade your pyromancer glove or whatever it is and make it stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's
Is there a way to make it faster?
Like
to cast it faster?
I think I want to say Dex gives you a slight boost to that.
Makes sense.
There might also be a ring. Let's see. All catalysts have their own cast speed. Oh, and this one, cast speed is influenced by attunement, faith, and intelligence. But I don't think I don't know attunement doesn't really do enough to really justify raising it.
Well, and I don't use it enough. It's more so like if there's
like a far away enemy
for bosses, but
yeah.
But to be honest, for the bosses, it's way easier for me just to do like my heavy stance and just. So what I've learned, at least in my little bit of 5 to 10 hours of playing, is I used to lock on to enemies and bosses. I can't. It's way easier to not lock on for me, at least. I don't know if that's common.
I find that certain bosses it's easier with locking on, and certain bosses it's easier without. Yeah. Like some of the
Because I was
big
struggling
ones.
locking onto those gargoyles.
Yeah.
But like the second I stopped I didn't lock onto them, it was way easier for me.
Yeah. Sometimes the lock on can be a little jank. Dark Souls overall can be kind of jank sometimes.
Because I was locking on, and then I would like, first of all, like they would be like flying away or something, and then I'll jump out. You know how many times I killed myself by jumping off a cliff or falling off a cliff?
Yeah, that happens in Dark Souls.
And sometimes stupidly, and like I had a lot of souls, and I was like, I told myself I'm going to go pick up those souls and come back, and I fall off a cliff, and I can't pick up the souls. Yeah.
Yep.
But I just beat I don't even think he's a boss, because this dude was a joke. I don't know. It was to get so I could. It was down in the catacombs where I could. This is the torch guy, the lantern guy that was duplicated himself to get so he could like spark or something.
Pinwheel?
That was a joke.
Pinwheel?
Yeah, I didn't even. Yeah, that's a joke of a boss. That's not like really supposed to be a boss,
right?
Because that was the easiest thing I've ever played.
But it's a joke boss, basically. Yeah. By the time you get to him, you have so much damage, he just instantly dies. Yeah, he's a joke.
Dude, I was laughing. I'm like, wait a second. Is this like a joke? Like I was like, is he gonna get more powerful? Is he one hit me and like kill him? I'm like, oh.
Yep. Nope. He's dead.
So the only other thing I wanted to question you on real quick is what do you do a lot of the humanity? I still don't quite understand the humanity aspects.
It's different in each game.
So with the first one, from what I've read is, I don't know. You get your full health back, and then like you get your humanity, so you can do something. So you could summon someone to help you.
I think so. Yeah, you can do that. There's NPCs you can give humanity to. It's used to do something later on with the bonfires, so I wouldn't really use it until you can kindle the bonfires.
Is that what I got from killing the bell dude?
How do you kindle the bonfires?
Because I'm pretty sure when I killed the thing, it said I can now kindle. Or
yeah, that might be. And I think you can upgrade to more levels of kindling. But yeah, you should use the humanities to kindle.
So what does the kindling do?
It gives you more Estus at that bonfire. So
when you respawn at that bonfire, then you start with more potion or whatever you call it. Yeah,
it's definitely, you should do that.
So like say I'm struggling on one boss, so I could put humanity on that bonfire closest to that boss. So every time I die, I get more.
Yeah, I think where you're at, you'd get 10 Estus instead of 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's definitely useful.
That's just at the one you put it at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And does it cost just one humanity to do that?
I think so. I think once it's kindled, then it stays kindled. Yeah. And I think it's just one humanity.
Oh, okay. Because I have like 8 humanities right now, and I also have a double humanity or a twin humanity. Is that like?
I think that just gives you 2. It just gives you 2 humanity.
So does that mean? So, like, what if I put that? Can I kindle with that or no?
When you use the humanity, you see this number here? This number will go up.
Yeah.
So if you use 2, this would go from like 1 to 3. But when you die, you lose 1. So I normally just like kept them in my inventory until I wanted to kindle. Then I would use 1 and kindle it. So yeah.
So wait. So that number, when you die, goes away back to 0. Yeah. So what does that mean?
It means you lost that humanity.
So is that so that has nothing to do with kindling a fire?
Well, when you kindle the fire, you also lose 1 humanity.
So when I kindle the fire, I lose the 1 humanity, but permanently, for the rest of the game at that fire, I would start with 10 next one, or whatever the level is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could give the humanity to myself, and that number will go up.
Yeah, the higher the number...
But then what does that do?
It like increases the chance of enemies dropping items, but it's not really... I never really worried about having too much humanity.
Okay, so really, what I should use it for most, at least right now, is just kindling fires that I'm struggling around with.
Yeah.
Or giving to NPCs for certain things.
Yeah, I would save some up because there are some NPC quests that take humanity. Yep.
Yeah. Also, I did not start my gift with the master key.
Ooh.
I read that for your first playthrough, you should not do that.
Okay. I think I did, but yeah, that's probably better. Honestly, it'll keep you on a more straight track.
Yeah, from what I was reading, I read a lot, like, going into this, and they said for the first playthrough, it might confuse you a bit of everywhere you go.
You know, I think I did that too, actually. Yeah, because I think I did read that too.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, so honestly, I did it's called like the Witches something, which people said if you want the most lore to pick that one.
Hold on, Dark Souls
which gift? I don't remember what it was called.
Item. Yeah, I don't remember.
Or gifts, yeah, or whatever you call them.
Old Witch's Ring.
Yeah, the Old Witch's Ring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I heard the Black Firebomb is only good at the beginning.
Yeah, it helps you with the first boss, but that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. But I read this is best, like, for just, like, if you want the most, like, lore. Like, there's, like, something where you can only get the dialogue with this on.
Yeah.
Pretty much people are saying the gifts don't really do too much.
No, they may help you
except for the key, the master key.
Yeah. But that's for, like, on second playthroughs where you know where you're going and want to skip some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, I love it, dude, and I will keep you updated every week where I'm at.
Nice. You're making me want to go back and play it, but I have too many other games to play.
It's amazing, and people who, I mean, I can't fault them because I did the same thing, but people should really give it a chance. You just have to get in the right mindset.
Yeah.
You really have to understand it, because people just think, oh, it's hard and it's dumb. But it's really,
it's rewarding.
It's hard, but it's rewarding, and it makes you persevere and learn. I sound like a nerd now, but it really does. It makes you learn. Yeah. It makes you a better player.
I found myself taking some of the stuff I learned, like learning the boss fights, the rhythms. I definitely do that in other games now too. Like, I've learned how to be a better player from Dark Souls for sure.
Yeah, and I've learned to be patient, man, because the second I get cocky, that's when bad stuff happens.
Yep.
Because I'll die and I'll go through the same set of enemies like 5 or 6 times just to get to a spot. And I'll start getting cocky. I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm just going to go real fast.
Dude, you talking about that made me think of, just wait for Dark Souls 2. I'm going to warn you right now, Dark Souls 2 has some of the worst boss runbacks I've ever seen. And in that game, when you go through a fog gate, you're not invulnerable. So they can hit you out of it. So you can't just run through.
That would be annoying. Because you know how many times I've run through those things and been attacked? Yeah. Especially with that stupid wheel thing. Those little skeletons in the catacombs with the wheels.
Those are the worst. I hate those enemies.
I hate those things, dude.
Yep. They're horrible.
I hate those things. And if I wouldn't have gone through that fog, like if it would have been like Dark Souls 2 where they could hurt me, I would never make it past that area.
Yeah. There are some things I like about Dark Souls 2, but it also makes some weird decisions like that.
Yeah, when I get there, I'll let you know. And then, I'm excited. I honestly, like, and I said the same thing with Elden Ring when it first came out. Like, this, I don't know, dude. Maybe this game makes me feel like a kid in the sense of the game feels fun.
Yeah.
Like, with games, and I'm not trying to knock down like Final Fantasy VII or any other games we've recently played. But there's something about these Souls games that start with Elden Ring, and now I'm falling back in love with this game, where it just is. It's just so fun. Ironically, to me, it doesn't feel like a chore, even though you're dying a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm having fun.
I think part of it is like, it's like the anti-Ubisoft model. Like Ubisoft, you get a map, you get a bunch of points on the map, you just go there, do it, and then get a reward. Go there, do it, get a reward. This is like, you have to explore. You have to like look around every corner and make sure you're not going to get hit by a boulder or attacked. And like every little item pickup could be something interesting or important. And it's just, it forces you to play the game, not just look at a map and go to points.
Exactly. And even with, the Spider-Man games and God of War games, and most recently Final Fantasy VII games. Again, I'm not saying I don't like those games. Obviously, like those are like
Yeah.
9 out of 10 games, 10 out of 10 games. But like, my God, first of all, like some of the bosses in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's not even hard to like be hard. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like, and then I mean, same thing with some of the God of War bosses, but I don't know. And then half of it just I was playing Final Fantasy Rebirth, and half the time I'm either in cutscenes or I'm walking around slow to get to point A to point B, or maybe I'm sure I'm having a little bit of fatigue with the game too. Um, but then I go to Dark Souls and like boom, I'm in the action. Let's freaking go. Let's learn this map. Let's play this freaking combat. Upgrade your weapon. Here's a little cutscene of this boss. That dude looks weird. How did it get like that? Like it's just so like I don't know. It's just different. And I guess I need a break from like the story based. Well, I should say the cutscene story based games, and I need this Dark Souls is hitting my spot right now.
Yep. It's like the pacing of it is kind of up to you, which I like.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm not knocking Final Fantasy for the Rebirth because I had so much fun with that game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game.
I will say the couple of chapters 12 and 13 or whatever I was
11
on,
and 12.
11 and 12, probably the worst chapters in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think this is the kind of game I need right now, man.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it.
I love the Souls games. They're amazing. I don't blame you.
I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to beat Dark Souls, this remastered, this first one, and then I'm probably going to play Stellar Blade.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'll go back to Dark Souls 2. Kind of get that like different feel, the fantasy feel and the sci-fi feel.
Yeah, true. I think that's a good
go back
idea.
to Dark Souls 2 and go from there.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play Dark Souls 3 because a lot of people say that's their favorite one.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is great. Has the best bosses, hands down.
But yeah, I'll definitely keep you updated as the weeks go on.
Yeah. Nice.
But sweet.
All right. That's all I had for this week. How about you?
Yep. All I had, a longer episode, but we had a lot to talk about.
We did.
It's been a while.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Well,
we do have in the next, not this week, but next, 2 or 3 more weeks, we do have the Furiosa movie coming out. We'll have to go see.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll definitely go see that one and review that one.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't think that's till like the end of May. But it's this month.
Sweet.
Cool. But anyways, yep, that's all I had.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we will talk to you next week.
Peace.